Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty.
Hey guys, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I hope you're having a really, really, really good Sunday. Who got first today? I told him he didn't, but it was Mr. Cullen. He did get first, so congratulations. Captain Redlack is here as well. So is Captain Reed, who says other people might have arrived early. Oh, why do we keep snoozing the ads? I thought the ads were going to happen whilst I was on the starting soon screen, but someone snoozed them. Okay, so yeah, so Who else have we got? Ruse here as well. Mr. Blackbrook's here too. They are nerdier than you, and you are nerdier than me. Okay. We are all Spartacus? Yeah. Angry Swan's here as well. He says he's subscribed for 31 months and says 31 months of not being first to comment. I'm all about consistency. That is true consistency. You've never once been first to my memory. Congratulations on that consistency. Fred Zillosaurus is here as well. Good afternoon.
Tasty.
Geeky Ed, thank you so much for being here too. Icy Prisoners here as well. I'm just going to kick off my shoes. Sorry. I'm really hot today. It's been roasting in the workshop. I don't know why, but it's been really, really hot in here today. It's only been like 17 degrees here in Yorkshire, but in the workshop it was like 24 degrees. So I have the air conditioning on me. So if the noise in the background is too much, tell me and I'll turn it off. But yeah, Icy Prisoner subscribed for 3 months. Thank you so much for that, dude. Anarchy's here as well. He says, hi, Jane chat. Hope everyone is having a good weekend. Snickett's here as well, subscribed for 32 months. Thank you so much, Snicket. Good evening, Jay and chat. Thank you so much for being here. Geeky Ed subscribed for 31 months and says subby sub time. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much as well, dude. JMS is here as well, subscribed for 25 months. Lots of streaks today. Says good evening, all. Keeper's here as well. Ballboy12, Avoid Media, thank you so much for 38 months of subs. It says good afternoon, good evening, sorry. Jay and chat. I don't know why I read that as afternoon. It says evening. Dread Pirate as well, thank you so much for being here. Baron Ragnar is here too, so is BK. Godzilla Waddle as well, thank you so much for being here, dude. Says, hope everyone enjoyed some sun this weekend. Yeah, it's been a nice weekend. Rufus McFloofus, thank you so much for being here as well. That's nice looking coffee. I do try, even if I say so myself. Here's the close-up look of it. This is our own coffee. So yeah, this is the fiction blend from Jay's Roastery. Pestilence, thank you so much for 10 months of subs. Thoroughly appreciate that. Bazooka, thank you so much for 6 months of subs. Currently on a 6-month streak.
Tasty.
Ray the Kid's here as well. Says keyboard. Meow. Well, it's going to be a keyboard stream and probably a ranty stream because it always is. Superhand says evening all. Bit late as I was finishing my Toad in the Hole. Toad in the Hole sounds ace. We had sausage pasta baked today, which was nice. But Toad in the Hole sounds good. That's so good. Okay, Captain Redluck subscribed for 8 months. Thank you so much for that. 1 more month till a PT baby, dude. Thank you so much for that. Man, I love Toad in the Hole. Sometimes R doesn't rise. We call it Toad in the Road. Okay. Fair. Did MM Studio ever reply to your question on Geekhack? Oh, that wasn't for me. I thought that was to me. It's not. It's to Bazooka. There we go. Sean Wen says, hey Jay, do you love St. Louis ribs? I love ribs of all kinds. Like, ribs are one of my favourite things. If someone serves me up a platter of ribs, I'm happy. Bosch, thank you so much for 11 months of subs. And Superhands, thank you so much for 15-month streak. It's another PT anniversary for me. Is 15 months a known anniversary? I don't know. That's some nice cup of coffee. Yeah. Is it me or is the cup's top not circular? It is not circular. So this cup was made by a friend of mine. He had some, so he works on a production line where they make ceramics, and he made 2 of these mugs for me. Now they are, you can see like the front pattern. They are kind of like a production thing that's hand painted and stuff like that. But he made 2 of them for me, and the shape of the cup is exactly the shape his hands when he goes like that and squishes it. So he has hands a little bit larger than mine. So he just kind of made the shape of the cup like that rather than spinning it. And I have 2 that are slightly different and slightly wonky, and I love them because of that. So yeah. Washed the desk mat yesterday. We'll give it less than 24 hours and turns it back to a non-pristine state. Nice. Always use plain flour to get the rise, never self-raising weirdly. I don't know. I don't cook the Yorkshire pudding in our house. Ellie does, but she's very, very good at making Yorkshire pudding. So if you ever want tips, I can get them. Blue Slooshy, thank you so much for 4 months of subs as well. I thoroughly appreciate it. Yeah, Key Jim and us are the class of the MM class 3, class 65v3 vendors. Yeah.
Tasty.
3 more hours. Nice. Send some pictures on Discord when you do, Sean. Neon WHC, thank you so much for the Prime sub. I thoroughly appreciate that. Alvi, thank you so much for 16 months of subs. Evening amigos, thank you so much. Did you make this coffee yourself? I was wondering if you're into coffee, hobby or community. So yes, I made this coffee myself in my workshop. So if you join the Discord server, you'll see we have a little coffee section. But I also have my own coffee company. So if I do this, oh, that's what we're going to build today. But I have Jay's Roastery, which is where we roast our own coffee. So I'm drinking the Fiction Blend today, which is this one. And I have a commercial espresso machine set up, which is absolutely overkill for the workshop, but I have that here at the workshop. So yeah, I have a 2-group ACS Vostok, which is a handmade Italian lever espresso machine, and it's fantastic. I love it. But yeah, this is what I'm drinking right now. It's a medium to light roast, and here are the brewing notes. So that's basically what I've done to it here. Although we've gone for a slightly more of a ristretto dose here because I've gone for a 22 gram dose, and we've got 39 grams out, I think, on this one. So yeah, slightly different. So yeah, feel free to check that out. It's jaysroastery.co.uk. Thank you, Jelly, for sharing the link. But yeah, I do pour my own coffees. So yeah, I do make my own coffee, but it's interesting. Neil says, hi Jay, cheers for showing me around Prototypist. Where did you get the pink skin for your Logitech Master 3S? It looks great. This was custom painted by a guy called Leonardo Damaus, who's in the UK community, and he custom put the SPC, which is our Twitch subs logo on there. That is the logo for the Twitch subs, so thank you very much for that. Jelly Master, thank you so much for 5 gift subs as well to Ray the Kid, Conan, DNAT True Shot Official, no, DNA True Shot Official, Bookers, and Hughes Chopsticks. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and congratulations. Yeah. Is the person you're addressing the question to Jay? Is the hobby expensive? If the answer to both is yes, then Jay's into it. Not always. I think there are some expensive hobbies that I have purposefully not let myself delve into. One is stargazing, like properly, like with telescopes and stuff. I was lucky enough to get a telescope for my 40th birthday, so that might change, but that's one that I've been around the edge of for so long. Astrophotography is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've never bitten the bullet because I know I'd get too deep into it. Anyway, I was very lucky enough, I was a very lucky boy and got a nice telescope for my birthday, so I still have yet to use it, but the plan is to use it over the summer, before the winter. So that's probably going to come out in the next week or two. In fact, my wife's away for a week, so I'm probably going to do it over this weekend coming. We'll see. So yeah, so that's that. The other kind of like really expensive hobby there's a couple of expensive hobbies that I could fall into, and I've tried my hardest not to. One of them is Magic the Gathering, and I know you can do things like Magic the Gathering on a budget, but Mr. Blackbrook has been doing his best to try and drag me in, and I do have the opportunity to start to play Magic the Gathering, as I came into possession of about 150,000 Magic the Gathering cards about a year ago, and I have never even opened the box. So that's another one. What else is there? There's something else that's quite expensive that I've never delved into that I was thinking of. The thoughts escaped me, but there's been a few things I've been around the periphery of, and I've never let myself fall into that rabbit hole. So yeah. Torn between getting pen rest or not. Think it looked cleaner without. Thinking of pairing silver with GMK Fuji and not the obvious retro with beige. Retro and beige though is going to look really good, Berserker. It really is. It really is. Any GMK set restocks coming up on the site? No, if it's sold out, it won't come back into stock unless there's another run of it, Baron. So most GMK runs are basically limited edition. Once they're gone unless the designer happens to do a round 2 or a round 3, or as it happened, a round 4. In fact, very few sets. I think there's only 10 sets that have ever had 3 rounds. I'm sure I remember working that out a little while ago, and it's only ever 10 sets. So yeah, if they're in stock now, they will sell out, and once they're sold out, they're pretty much gone. If they've sold out historically, they're probably not coming back anytime soon. Shows Mrs. Baz your coffee machine on Insta. Her response was a bloody hell. Like, I own a coffee company. I have to be able to try good coffee here and brew good coffee here. I used to have a Londinium hand pull espresso machine, which was fantastic, but is very much more catered to a home setup. And sometimes here we can have like 20 or 30 people on site at a time, and to be able to blast out coffees at a kind of commercial rate is very, very much a needed thing. And I do have plans, as well as having the coffee brewing company, to create a little coffee shop at some point, maybe this year or next year. We'll see. We'll see. Italian Machine, a true brother of the Motherland at heart. Yeah, so it's ACS, Advanced Coffee Solutions. They're based in Naples, and it's a little family business. So it's a husband and wife who actually hand build all of the machines. They're really cool. They're really nice to reach out to and speak to. Maria is fantastic at getting you to buy stuff. Like, she's very, very helpful when it comes to saying, hey Jay, I know you bought this. I know you've done that to the machine. Would you like one of these as well? It's only 300 euros. And it's like, And they're also teasing that they're going to have a grinder as well soon, which is exciting. If you're into coffee, like, grinders are the big thing, other than the machines. So, yeah. It's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen at some point. Looks great. Got a 3S myself and might seek him out. Yeah, pink's my favorite color, hence the pink watch. So, yeah. Heroin, I do not dabble in drugs. I know I have an addictive personality. If I let myself get addicted to the wrong things, it would be bad, I think. So I don't. Audio stuff, yes, that is exactly what I was thinking of. I am not into particular high-end audio gear, because I think if I could, I'd be one of those people who'd start replacing all my cables for £400 cables and God knows what else. So I'm not into audio stuff other than good noise cancelling, which is what I have the XM4s for, sorry. Spend all your money on cardboard, one of us. Don't be an enabler. I play Magic. Luckily, my LGS is proxy friendly. Nice. So the fun thing here is Blackbrook and I went on a trip to Barcelona a couple of weeks ago, and while we were there, he walked past the Magic the Gathering store, and I think I told this a couple of weeks ago, but we walked past the store, and we nipped in for 5 minutes, and then we went back to the hotel and we were doing a few things.
Tasty.
And Blackbrook decided that he wanted to go back to the Magic the Gathering store, and I made a conscious decision to not go with him and to rest at the hotel, purely because I knew if I did, I'd end up spending a load of money and buying some stuff. And then he came back and he was super excited about some of the cards that he got, and he was showing me the details, and I was literally foaming at the mouth trying to not ask more questions to drag myself into it. So I'm like this close to it. BMT, thank you so much for 9 months of subs, and congratulations on a PT baby. D&D buds wanted to get into Commander, so we've been playing some precons, now getting to the point of upgrading. Oh, sounds good. True Neapolitan swindlers, joking, they make the best pizza. I can't say I've tried their pizza, but they are lovely, lovely people, and they make amazing coffee machines. If you guys are out there looking for a coffee machine, I get no money or anything for this, but if you want a high-end espresso machine, do look at ACS as an option. They are really, really cool. Zizora, thank you so much for 13 months of subs, dude. I really appreciate it. Camping Earth, Olivia Camping, DMG, Oblivion, Burgundy, Carbon. What am I missing? I'm sure there's more. 9009. I'm sure there's a couple more that I remember working out. I can't remember off the top of my head though. Jenga, thank you so much for 26 months of subs as well, dude. Thank you so much. Omega Switcher says, hey, here from MKCZ, thanks for the pass. We already thought you forgot about us. Much love. No worries, we don't forget. Like, if people want like packages and giveaway prizes for meetups and stuff like that, we will send them out. We will absolutely try and support you guys. Absolutely try and support you guys. So yeah. It's like crack, you did well, Jay. Yeah, I could, like, we had like a twin room, so it was 2 separate beds, and Chris was on one bed and he was like showing me the cards, and I was like, I don't want to touch them, because if I touch them, I'm gonna get the bug, I'm gonna get the itch, I'm gonna have to scratch the itch, and I tried to be really good.
Tasty.
I have the same mouse for work when I can get the skins for those buttons. This is painted, it's a custom painted mouse, it's not skins, I'm afraid. Yeah. Oh, Jem, thank you so much for 11 months of subs as well. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate it. He said that community member Chris. Oh yeah. Cap stuff is lovely. Just opened Midas today. Yeah, I put Cap Generation on a board. It's downstairs now. Earlier on today, and do you know what? Like, the Cap keycaps are coming in really, really good. Like, they are probably the third best in terms of quality, but they're improving all the time. And the reason I say that is because there's like some small things that, like, just niggle me a little bit about them compared to something that's more established like GMK. But the process for working with Creative to make cap sets, and Fuakwaa, who works with Creative to create the cap sets, it's his design almost. Like what they're going through and the kind of process they're creating to enable people to create more sets is really, really interesting. It's really cool, and I want to work with them a lot more going forwards. I think they have a ton of opportunity to do some really cool stuff. I do need to get my head around Figma, which is the kind of software that they're pushing for this kind of stuff. If anyone has any Figma experience and wants to spend an hour teaching me, please let me know, because my Blender experience is not coming in particularly useful. So yeah, Midas is a great set. Midas is a lovely set. Right, which probably is a great segue into PT news. So what's happening at Prototypist this week? So last week was a bit of a mismatch week, mishmash week for us last week. It was a bit of a mixed up week. I was away for a day on Thursday into Friday, so Mel was on her own on Friday morning for a little bit, and we kind of had like a whole like raft of loads of little bits to sort out. So it was kind of like a bit of a weird week for us last week, which was there wasn't anything happening stock drop wise really, and there was a couple of group buys that went live, but it was kind of a weird week. But this next week is going to be kind of like a very much refresher week for us. We're going to be able to slow right down, just pack and ship in stock orders. Speaking of which, if you want to buy a keyboard that's in stock right now, you can use the code. If I put it into chat, you can get 10% off of any in-stock keyboard kit during the stream. So if you go to prototypist.net and click on in-stock and in-stock keyboards, all in-stock keyboards, anything in here is 10% off with that code, streaming10, until the end of the stream. So yeah, if you want to get 10% off any of these keyboards, you can do. There's a lot of choice in there. My personal choice would be the QK80 Mark II. There are some of the kits are sold out, but some of the kits have only got like 1 unit left and things. So, but this would be my pick of the bunch personally. But yeah, there's some Neo Ergos, there's some QK65V2s. I think there's 1 or 2 Cycle 8s left. There's a compact Ergo left. You know, so you can get 10% off for the rest of the stream. In terms of other stuff that's been happening, the QK Alice Duo group buy pre-order does end soon. It closes on May the 8th, so you've got just over a week left to join this. So this is probably the split of the year so far. It's super cute, super lovely. I'm still waiting on a review unit, but we'll build one as soon as they arrive. And in-stock stuff, just to call out, Cap Midas. This is. I'm going to show you the renders for this, because this has come out so good. In fact, these are actually product shots that have been manipulated, because this key set, just look at that. Look, that is an actual photograph. Look how good that looks. Such a clean key set. Comes in black and gold, or there is the beige and gold. So you can see the beige and gold probably easier here. Yeah, it's a great set. Absolutely stunning. Came out lovely. Please do check it out. MTNU Modern Dolces in stock. We'll actually be using the light version of this today. So we do have the light standard base kit. This is what I'll be putting on my matrix board today when we build it. So if you want to try out MTNU, it's in stock. It's ready to go. Other sets are available as well. And then pre-orders, GMK Prussian Blue has just closed in the group buy, and it has made MOQ by the skin of its teeth. So we put the pre-order up pretty early because we had to go pretty heavy on the extras. So if you want to get in on this, you can now order the set in pre-order. And the other thing that happened as well is the Orkies Viking Antique keycap sets went live as well. There's a few different layouts and variations of this, but if you want to check out some, these ones are my favorite. So this is the antique version. It's kind of like a glossy antiqued kind of layout. I think there's a good picture here of the keycaps. These, oops, wrong one, that one. This came out really, really nice. Look at that, the Thor copper. This is what the actual keys look like. Came out super nice. So if you're interested in those are all live now as well. Yeah, a few BIOS-DE keyboards still available in group buy for kit 1. There's a few Boomerang kits left as well. I think there's quite a few of them left as well. So if you're interested in Boomerang, those are available. KBD fans have said those are going to ship to us any day now. So we'll get those out as soon as you order them. So yeah, there we go. Moons of Empire, thank you so much for your tier 1 sub, dude. Currently on a 30-month streak. That's amazing. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you. Let's scroll back up and catch up with chat here. Cap stuff is lovely. Just open my display. Cap is, yeah, I'm pretty happy with cap stuff. PBT fans, we've done some nice stuff with PBT fans. Probably the best set they've done is Retro Dark Lights Round 2, which we have in stock right now. Why Figma? They're using Figma because that's what... So Max Voltar works for Figma in his real life job. So he is probably one of the foremost designers in the hobby right now, or the most active designers right now. So he's kind of pushing that because it's his standard. He knows it inside and out, and he works for the company. So yeah. Front-end devs all scream in terror. Yeah. What's your top 3 keycap maker? So I would say for overall quality, it's GMK, whether you wanted to look at CYL or MTNU, so that's Cherry Profile or MTNU. Basically because it's double shot, the Cherry is the original, it's the OG. They have the original molds that created the Cherry Profile, but that Cherry used to own. So they are the de facto standard. MTNU is their secondary one, and it's gaining popularity all the time, so it's really nice. The second I would probably pick right now is JCS, because what they can produce, like the JOG set that we've got in stock, I'll show you it. I think it's actually on here, is it? No, it's not. So the JOG set that we have in stock, which is on sale as well. So it's literally 46 quid for a full base kit, including VAT, or 38 quid if you're not in the UK. This set, for the price point that we're able to offer this at, which is basically cost price. This is basically what it costs us. There's no margin on here, that we don't make a margin on this, or after we paid import duties and everything else. But the quality that they're able to produce, and the way they worked with me to create this set to my exact specifications, changing molds, creating the Windows key logos, and a few other bits and pieces, and allowing us to have all of this compatibility in the base kit. You know, you've got split space bars, numpad, ISO, UK ISO, ANSI as well, 7 new bottom rows. You've got a ton of compatibility in here, numpad and everything else. I just really liked working with JCS, and I want to do more with them in the future. And then I would probably say Cap are third at the moment, because of the sheer breadth of what they're able to do. Like, they're able to do an absolute ton of stuff that just no one else on the market can do right now. I suspect if their processes keep improving, Cap will become probably one of the premier keycap sets makers in the world. I think that's going to happen. Any UX designers in the community? Maybe, hopefully. Moons, I can't remember if I said thank you for your 30 months of subs, but if I didn't, I thank you, Moons. Thank you so much. Pink Compact Ergo, tempting. Yeah, it's like it's the nicest color as well, and no one's bought it. Gold is super shiny and light, looks gorgeous. Yep. Using MTNU Modo as we speak. My first MTNU, liking it so far. I love MTNU keycap sets. Might have to pick up the beige Midas as well. Yeah, it's been selling really well. It's almost sold out. So if you are on the fence about it, I would order it sooner rather than later. So yeah, thank God, was hoping it'd do well. Nice. Wonder how KKB Lilies is doing. Seems to be falling short of MOQ. Yeah, for a pink set, which is amazing, it is not doing the best. We will do our best to get it over the line, but I can't guarantee it right now. Didn't KKB say they would pick up the Slack to sell in stock Bazooka? For Lilies of the Valley, I think it still has to hit an internal threshold. I think it's pretty close. Is the German kit a must for Prussian Blue? I think for me, just because of Prussia and Prussian Blue coming from Prussia and everything, it is. So yeah. Got MV Expo on my lava right now. Such a sexy beast. Yeah. If you actually need help with Figma, I can perhaps provide some assistance. I just need a crash course in how to move some stuff around in Figma and get a result. Like, I can play around after that, but I just need maybe the crash course that says from starting up Figma to using these files, this is what you need to do. So if you can do that, absolutely, we can arrange an exchange, a trade for some keycap product or something, whatever works for you. Yeah. Waiting for Cap MV Classic. Yeah, we have got MV Classic in stock, ready to go, but it's in PBS, which is... Do you know what? PBS is probably the most interesting profile I've tried in a long time. So this is PBS. It is a flat profile, not sculpted. I got to try this originally at Novel Keys meetup last year because Max had a set with him of this actual keycap set. We'd had blank Penguin Belly Slide keycaps before that. But Penguin Belly Slide is probably the most interesting and unique profile we have on the market right now. It's just a really, really interesting texture to touch and to feel, and it's nice. It's really nice, and it looks great too. So yeah, but that's in stock and ready to ship as well. So yeah, and if you order today, it'll ship tomorrow. So that's the benefit.
Incredible.
Yeah, so KKB get the rights to sell it if it hits 250, but it has to hit 500 overall. Yes, correct. Did like Penguin Belly Slide, but it felt like Cat, but without the massive height. Yeah, so I don't dislike Cat and Cam. I think they're both very useful, but I prefer Penguin Belly Slide to type on. But I tend to prefer a sculpted set, but PBS is the closest to a flat set that I could use on a regular basis. Right, okay, so I think that's it for PT news. Just a reminder that you can pick up some coffee if you're interested in picking up some coffee from Jay's Roastery. And if you want to support us on Twitch, you can do, or if you'd prefer to support us on Ko-fi, we do have the Ko-fi page. And if we hit the SPC goal for the Ko-fi, which is right down at the bottom of the page, we're at 91% right now, then we'll do a giveaway and play some marbles towards the end of the stream. And with that, I'm going to get up my build guide for the Matrix 100NG that we're going to build today. Okay, so that's pretty much up to date on PT news. I think next couple of weeks for PT is going to be quite interesting because we've got a lot of stuff in the background. So we've got a lot of products that are coming soon that we want to do more about and promote and things like that, which is something we've never really done. So we're going to try and start to tackle that. We've also got our end of year reports to start finishing up, which is frustratingly time consuming, but it's something that has to be done. We've also got a rent review of the workshop to come, which is kind of frustrating because it's so expensive already to rent this place. We'll see how that happens. We'll see how that pans out, but there is a rent issue here. We've also got to plan out the GMK open day. So if you haven't seen this, GMK are doing an open day, kind of like a meetup at the GMK headquarters. It's on the 28th of June. PT will be there. I have booked a hotel, but this week the team needs to decide who's going. I think it's going to be me and Mel who go, and whilst we have the 2 hotel rooms, we need to book flights and cars and all these other kind of things, figure out what we're taking, how we'd set up a stall there, ship it all out. So that's something else we're going to tackle in this next week, probably a couple of hours a day to just work through that. So it's going to be really, really interesting. Yeah, and then there's a couple of other bits and pieces that we need to do too in the workshop, just some tidying up and stuff like that. And then the final thing I want to happen in the next 10 or 12 days is finally getting the Protozoa stock listed on a website. For those that you don't know, Protozoa is another keyboard company in the UK. They were struggling due to a ton of different issues, and they asked if we wanted to help in and step in and help them out, which we did. We have all of their stock on site. It's all listed, it's all documented, all of the listings are created in the back end. Ecto and I just need to go through and sit down and double check everything, make sure he doesn't need anything shipping out to people, and then we can put it all live. So I'm hoping we'll get that review done this week, and then next week we can drop the listings live and we'll have like a big announcement. But I think there's something like 1,000 different items to be listed, and in that there's probably 10,000 items actually, but there's 1,000 different items to list. But yeah, there's a lot of stock going in. It's probably another 10% of what we already have here. So yeah, so that's going to be really interesting. I need to figure out some time with Ecto this week to make that all happen, and we'll have some big announcements on Discord. The other thing that actually is not too far away is our next shipment from China is just literally passing the Cape of bottom of Africa. So that will be here mid-May. I want to say it's going to arrive in port in about 4 weeks time. So mid-May sometime, 3 weeks time, I think. So we need to start prepping for that as well, which is going to be cool. And then there's some other stuff that we need to prep for as well. I think there's the ClackyCon conference in September that we need to work towards. There's some other MK UK stuff that we need to work towards this week. We need to have a conversation about, and 1,000,001 other things. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Right, let's catch up with chat, see what you've been talking about. Got PBS Retro Beige. It's the best uniform typing experience I've had yet. Yeah, I agree. The top of a PBS keycap is like caressing the top of a Parma Violet. That's not untrue, it is. Looking forward to GMK Beachy and eventually GMK Coniferous. Coniferous is one of my favourite sets of all time, yeah. Be nice if it comes to pass with the mess of GMK at the start. Yeah, frustrating. rent review. Why don't they just wring you of all your money? Yeah, so the way our contract is written on this workshop is that we had a contract for 3 years, and the rent went up by 10% each year for the first 3 years. We are in that third year now, and that third year expires at the end of October. So I think it's on the 29th of October the rent expires for this workshop. So we now need to start negotiations on what the next contract looks like. I was hoping that we would be able to move PT prior to that happening. That is looking increasingly unlikely because we haven't found a house to buy yet. It's we aren't moving anytime soon, and the plans to build a physical space for PT in a barn or something there, it just aren't going to happen before October. So there is probably very little I can do other than sign another contract for the year, or for at least 1 year to extend the lease here. That means contract negotiations, rent reviews, assessments from insurance companies. It means assessments from the council. They've already written me a letter of the council asking me to provide proof of rent payments. It means reviewing business rates and having hygiene checks redone, and 1,000,001 other things that all come with running a business that are frustrating and time consuming. So yeah. Geekhead, I think I've just answered that. Do you think downsizing warehouses might happen, or is it just moving somewhere cheaper? I like the rent here is $6,000 a month. That's the cost for this workshop. It is absolutely insane, the rent here. If it goes up much more than that, we'll struggle with it because like I don't take a salary because costs have to be paid and bills have to be paid. So my salary is currently paying for the rent here, and other things as well. But yeah, so it's interesting. The plan has been for a while for Ellie and I to try and find a new house that allows us to either build a barn or has a barn with it in the kind of area that we're looking to move, which is kind of rural. So barns are quite common out there, and if we could get a barn that's got the same foot space as the current PT workshop, it would just be the cost of installing a mezzanine, and then of course PT would not need to pay rent anymore because I would own personally the barn. The other alternative is to have a house with enough land to build a barn on, which we could then, instead of paying rent, use the money to build the barn. We'll see. Yeah, so it depends on the review. Yeah, Geekhead. Interested to see what blasts from the past are sitting in the process of stock. A ton of stuff. They'll use most of the space they have now unless the cars go. We could last maybe another 12 months in this space with the space we have if we got rid of the cars. Other than that, we probably would need a bigger space. Like we are, and that we're here to stay here. That would mean building larger mezzanines instead of the mezzanine that takes up a quarter of the floor space. We'd have to extend that to half the floor space, maybe. Like we will need to look at that very, very soon if we are staying. So yeah, quite weak then. Yeah, is the MK-UK meetup happening this year? That is a conversation that I need to have this week. Because originally the ones that we were going to plan were going to be helped by ClackyCon, but ClackyCon is now effectively going defunct, but PT is looking to acquire ClackyCon as an entity so it doesn't disappear, not to profit from it or to do anything with it particularly, but to make sure the entity doesn't disappear and to make sure the name can continue. So that is a big TBC at the moment. That was kind of why we did the quick and dirty open day a couple of months back. So yeah. Lilies of the Valley would be in better called KKB T-Mobile. Maybe. Yeah, but it has slightly changed the colour, yeah. Pokemon Kid, thank you so much for 26 months of substitute. I appreciate that. You mentioned the rent was huge before and a crazy rate per square foot situation. Yeah, so the business rates are different from council to council in the UK. So depending on where you are, your business rates will be different. So, and they're based on the size of the property, not how much property your business takes up. So if you rent it from your house and your house has, say, I don't know, 500 square meters, you should be counting your house as 500 square meters when you submit its business rates. And declare the fact that you're using your home as a business location. When you're working from a leased space like yours, which is warehousing / office space, it's already declared to the council what that is used for, so we just have to declare the type of business. So if I wanted to run a coffee shop from here, we'd have to then declare a change of business. The council that we fall under, which is Bradford Council, has this really interesting policy where if you have a retail store that is 75% or more of your square footage, you don't pay business rates. We can't do that because we don't have a retail space particularly here, and open days don't really count. But the business rates on top of the, you know, the £6,000 a month that we pay in rent. So on top of the rent, we also have to pay business rates, which is about £800 to £900 a month, depending on the month, and that's going up because they've just done a review on that. I think that's going to go up to about £1,200 a month to the council just for having a business in the area. The other thing we have to pay for is a grounds maintenance fee, which is for all of the area here that the workshop sits on. So there's a little garden area outside, and for people to come and keep the yard clean and sweep it and whatever else, and take the I was gonna say take the trash, but they don't. We have to pay for our own bins and stuff like that. But to take out, there's like a pallet store. They empty out the pallet store every now and again. So I think that works out about £1,000 a month, and then we have to pay the buildings and contents insurance for here. So the contents insurance is actually covered under our business insurance, which includes employee liability, public liability, stock, and all of that kind of stuff, which is astronomical sums of money anyway. That's probably close to 40 or 50 grand a year. But we also have to pay the insurance for the building, which is the landlord's insurance that he takes out on the building, which is very, very common in lease situations, and that's probably another £1,000 a month. Like it's just insane how much it costs to rent business space. It's absolutely incredible. Had my own Evil Eye and some other bits. Evil Eye will be in stock, yes, as part of the Protozoa drop. Yes, absolutely will be. Sorry I'm late. No worries, Trojan. Nice to see you. My friend just took over a double unit at us near £6,000 a unit per year. The disadvantage is that we're in the bum hole of nowhere. We do pay a privilege because of where we are based, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that is one of those things. We are waiting updates on the F1's bore range from Gion as to where the ship is. Since he shipped them, we haven't had confirmation of the ship or confirmation of the packing lists from Gion yet. Now, I know we will get them from Gion at some point, but we don't even have tracking for the ship. We've paid everything up front. It's all done and paid for. He confirmed they are shipped. As far as I know, they're at sea somewhere. I don't know where, because Gion has not given us the shipping details of the container and the ship that it's on yet. So until I have that, I have no idea. I can't even plan for them to arrive until then. So yeah. Somehow they have a bunch of them now. Maybe. Yeah, but like as soon as we have it, it'll be on our updates pages, so you can get it from updates here. So yeah. So the updates there, that will determine that. Is it normal to not have shipping updates? So usually when things are produced in China, we handle all of our freight ourselves. So we internally have a team that creates shipment lists, packing lists. We book containers, we book ships, we make sure that container is on said ship, and we make sure all of that happens like within an internal team. With this, Gion has arranged the shipment and then just billed us for it, which we paid as soon as we saw the invoice. I don't know why he hasn't shared it yet. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he's just very busy, and like I don't know whether it's normal for Gion or not, because it's the first time he ships anything like this. Normally we ship stuff by air, which means we just get a UPS reference and it's here with or a DHL reference, and it's here within 3 to 5 days. Unfortunately, the air shipping was nearly 4 times the original quoted cost because the way shipping's changed worldwide. So we could no longer air ship them without making massive losses. So yeah. I don't know if he did say that, Zava, but I do know that he's told us ours are on the way, but I don't know where they are. Like I have no idea where they are right now. I know that Sharon in our team did chase them. I mean, the tariffs don't affect UK orders anyway, so the tariffs are nothing to do with UK orders. So yeah. So they were on the. So when did Gion? I will tell you the date that Gion told us they were shipping, but I can't tell you anything other than that. Okay. So Gion confirmed on the 1st of April that the packages were already sent. Like, he confirmed that everything was shipped on the 1st of April. And he said then that he would send me the documentation later. I haven't had it yet, but I'm sure Gion will send it. Like, I don't know where it is. Like, I just don't know. But I trust Gion enough that we will get it. Like, Gion is not someone to not believe in the hobby. Like, he has followed through on everything he's ever tried to do in the hobby. So I'm not worried about it. I just don't know the answer. I hope that helps you. Yes, if you want the timeline, 28th of March, Gion confirmed that the booking to Felixstowe, which is the UK port, has been completed and the products were shipped out to the port on the 28th of March. He then sent me the invoice and says, please make the payment and send us a bank slip as soon as possible. So then he chased, that was at 2:16 a.m. He then chased us at 8 a.m. and said, have you paid it yet? So we weren't even going to workshop at this point. And the 28th, I think, was a weekend. I think. What was the 28th of March? Yeah, so that was on the Friday. So the payment cleared on the 31st, which is the Monday. I was just making sure that was correct before I told you. But the payment cleared on the 31st on the Monday of March on the Monday. Gion confirmed on the 1st of April that the payment had cleared, confirmed the package was sent, and that he would send me the documentation later. That is the current timeline. There have been a couple of chases to Gion since then, but we haven't heard back from him yet. So yeah, that's where it is. A lot of other people, and you'd be worried with Gion, it'll be yeah, like if this was other vendors, not saying any names, I would be like, guys, I need an update every day. But with Gion, like, it's not something I need to do. It is technically still later. Yeah, well, exactly right. Gion villain arc incoming? No, I think Gion is not that type. When I say tariffs, it's because Gion shipping USA orders first instead of tariffs for USA customers. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that USA customers are just going to have to start to accept. Yeah. Excited for the spiders to come in as well. Shame about the delay from Plyworks, but definitely understandable. Yeah, so we did get told on Friday that there'd been a slight delay. I don't know if we've got Notion updated yet because it came in quite late on the day when we were told that. But, you know, I'm excited for the spider. I was really upset when I had to send the pink spider back that I built on stream because I loved that board. It was really nice. I'd have trust in Gion to hold fast, lovely board, worth the wait. Yeah, like as soon as we get them, we'll ship them out. They could arrive tomorrow. I hope they arrive before our shipment from China arrives. I hope they arrive next week. Like, the reason why we need the documentation though is because when we arrange our shipping from China, we have like, so if you guys don't know how shipping works, but there's kind of like a whole process to it, especially when shipping to the UK. It's not like just like, oh, here's a package, put a label on it, UPS come pick it up and then it goes. Like for bulk freight shipping, it's really, really not that easy. So here's the process at an overview. So we will have a warehouse in China where we collect packages over a course of, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks. We have a container ship from China every 4 to 6 weeks, okay? So we will collect stuff for 4 to 6 weeks until we have enough to kind of like ship a container, make it worthwhile to ship a container. At that point, once we know we've kind of hit that amount and we're going to ship a container, we will have to book a container. So we have a contact in China who arranges a local shipping company that will take it from the warehouse where we store everything to a bonded warehouse at the docks in China. Then it will go, once it's all there in the bonded warehouse, it will be collated by the shipping company and distributed into different containers. We will then get confirmation that it's on X container, it's going to be on Y ship. And we can kind of, to some extent, pick which ship we want to go on. Like, do we want to go on a direct ship or a longer ship or whatever? Generally, we have to go with whatever's cheapest because the margins in keyboards are not enough for us to pay extra $1 to ship stuff. So then we know which container it's in and which ship it's going to be on. And at that point, we'll then get an invoice from the shipping company to cover the cost of the shipping container. That can be anywhere between $6,000 and $25,000, depending on how big the container is, whether we're sharing it with someone else or whether it's just our stuff in there. Once we get that invoice, we pay the invoice pretty much straight away as soon as we get details of it. And then we get what's called a bill of lading. Now, this is just a document that says that our stuff is on X pallets, on Y container, on Z ship. Nice and simple, but it's like kind of like an authenticity certificate as well. So you can then show it to the UK port to prove that the stuff on there is what it is. That is airshipped over to us. We get the bill of lading. We then send that to our forwarding team that works at whichever port the ship is going to. Usually it's Felixstowe for us. So then the ship will sail on its way to Felixstowe. We'll get updates periodically from the shipping company. We'll get the bill of lading through the post. We'll send that bill of lading by a registered mail to Felixstowe port to have the port authority. We have a company we use for this called EMS Cargo. They're really, really nice guys there. Our rep's called John. John will get that. He will say, right, yes, we've got the bill of lading. We can unbox everything when it gets here. Everything's good from an import perspective. Then he will say, okay, the ship's going to arrive on X date and be unloaded by Y date. So we have a rough idea of when the ship's going to arrive at port. The ship will arrive at port. It will be devanned, which means it's taken off the ship. They will then distribute all of the containers into a warehouse, which is called a bonded warehouse. It's not technically UK soil, and it's not technically imported until it comes out of that warehouse and through the gates into the UK. At that point, we will then get an invoice for any duty and tax imports that we have to pay. Usually it's a big chunk of VAT, something like, I don't know, 40, 50 grand VAT bill, and a duty bill, and also there'll be some sort of handling fees and other bits and pieces like that. We get that through, we pay that bill, and only once that bill is paid is it allowed to leave the bonded warehouse and actually pass through onto UK soil. So at that point, we then have a local delivery company who will pick it up from, well, I say it's like local to the port. It's like a port delivery company that EMS Cargo manage. They will pick it up from the bonded warehouse. They will take it to a non-bonded distribution warehouse, and then our local courier will pick it up from there, which we usually use Farsley couriers, which are very, very local to us. They will then go pick it up from there, and they will bring it to us. They will drop it off on pallets, and we have to unload the pallets from the wagon into the workshop. So it takes about 6 weeks for all that to happen. About 6 weeks for it to happen, because you can't make a ship sail faster, you can't push it faster through the water, and you can't teleport it around, which is really unfair, but it's true. So that's kind of the process. There's a whole raft of stuff that goes into there. There's a whole lot of documents that have to be completed, because we have to do export licenses for everything that we ship out. If you guys haven't seen these before, I can maybe share some on a stream at some point. In fact, let me see if I can share a couple now, because we get like export licenses and stuff like that. Let me see if I can find some to show you guys, because they're quite interesting. Let me see if I've got something I can share with you guys, because it is quite interesting to see. But there's all sorts of different licenses that we have to pay for to export stuff. Is it going to be on here? Okay, let me just screen grab something, because there's information on here that I can't share, but there's stuff on here that I can share. Oh, that's air shipping. That's not a good example. Okay, let me not do that one. Sorry. I hadn't planned on showing you guys this, so let me see if I can find a copy of it. Is it going to be in here? No. Why can I not find one? Okay. So this is yeah. I'm just gonna screen grab this. So this is a really small shipment that was for a single group buy and went onto a pallet. So if you want to know what this for, this was for the Allura 65s. Just to kind of put it into context. This is for the Allura 65s. Let me see if I can open this up in a web page that I can share. Okay. Sorry guys. You may find this absolutely terribly boring, but I find it interesting, so I'm hopefully you guys will as well. Okay, so this is an example of just for the Allura 65s, shipping them to the UK. Okay, so the first one is we have doc items. This is just a document that we need to produce. It costs us $55 to produce it and have it signed off and approved, and that's per bill. We then have to have an export license for each supplier. So every supplier that's providing something. So for this, it was a supply for gaskets, a supply for screws, a supply for cases, a supply for PCBs. The list goes on. You can kind of get that. So we had 45 different suppliers. $45 per supplier. 4 different suppliers. The cost is $180. We had 10 different supplies, but we only needed 4 suppliers. So there's a bit of Chinese English like interpretation needed here. So whilst we had 10 different items that were shipping as part of this, there was only 4 suppliers. We then have to pay CFS charge. Don't know what that is, but we have to pay it. We had 4.719 of those at $10 each. And that's per the CBM is kind of like the weight thing that we ship on. Don't know what CUS is either, but we had 75 of those at 3, so we had to pay for 3 sets of that. Trucking charge, so this is just literally to take the pallets from our warehouse in China to the port. That was $125, so that's to the bonded warehouse in China. We had 2 pallets, so we had to buy the pallets because you have to pay for the cost of the actual pallet itself. They're $30 each. We had to do insurance, which was 0.3 of a cent per US dollar. So the total value of the shipment was $46,000. That was the cost to produce the Allura 65s from our perspective. It's $46,000 at 0.3 of a cent per dollar to insure it was $140. And that's just production cost, remember, guys. Then we have handling, 12 lots of handling. This is for loading and unloading different times into warehouses, out of warehouses, onto vans, off vans, into warehouses, out of warehouses, all of that kind of stuff. 12 different times at 30 times a pop. There was a pickup charge of $95. HBL, we had to pay for 12 of those. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is, but there was 12 lots of $22 for that. The actual ocean freight itself for this wasn't particularly expensive. It was $707, but we've already got $1,500 in additional ancillary costs here, and then we've got $730 in actual shipping costs. That's for the container and for the fuel on there, because we used a part container for this. THCs, more docks, more CAFs, ERS facility fees, piece fees. You know, there's another $1,000 there. Customs clearance fee. That's a bribe, I think. A port fee and a delivery charge. That was the cost to literally deliver it locally. It was $7,100. There was something we had airshipped as well here, which is $858. So we can ignore that $858, but $710, $964, $732, and $1,500. That was to ship 2 pallets. That was to ship 2 pallets. That was the cost to ship 2 pallets of the Allura 65s. So that kind of puts it into context. When we do like a full shipment, it is not cheap, it is expensive, and like all of these ancillary costs just add up. And there's no way around these. There is no way around these. It is absolutely ridiculous and crazy. So yeah, for $46,000 worth of product at cost, which we'll lose money on because the Allura 65s I don't think I'll sell when they go in stock. But for $46,000 worth of dollars of product, we're paying $1,500, $2,500, $3,500. So we're paying just about $4,000, right? $4,000 on every $46,000 shipment. So for every $50,000 we spend on product, we spend another $4,000, or 4%, yeah. No, 8% of that on shipping again, just to get it here. And that's before we pay import fees. Like on the 46,000, I'll have to pay 20% of that as the VAT bill as well. So we'll have another 8 or 9 grand, $9,000 there to pay when it arrived. There would have been another $9,000 on top. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hope the build will be hot swap this evening, or we're going with like cubic meter. Yeah, CBM is cubic meter, but I don't understand like where they get the 4.719. It might be the size of 2 pallets like built up like the cubic meters, I guess. I don't know. Is it all done in USD? What if conversion rate changes? It is all done in USD, yeah. If the conversion rate changes, the conversion rate changes. We try and hold cash in US dollars, and we buy it at a decent exchange rate when we can. So yeah, it's interesting. No solid, no source. Thanks for being here, dude. These darn surety companies taking all the money for those bonds, and those darn insurers taking all the money for the insurance policies, right? Like, it is really expensive to ship shit. It is incredibly expensive to ship stuff. House bill of lading, a bill of lading issued by the freight forwarder to a shipper as a receipt of goods. Yeah, so that's it's also used as proof of import here in the UK. Yeah. I'm going to start my own shipping company and call it On Your Mark, Set, Go. On Your Mark, Get Set, I'm Ripping You Off would be a better name. Every time you show these, I have no idea how you survive as a business. So I will be really blunt. There are many, many companies that do what we do who cut corners and don't do it properly and do things illegally to make sure they make a profit. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I couldn't live with us if we didn't do things by the book. Like, I have to do things by the book. It's the way my brain is set. I am happy to be a disruptor and to try and challenge the mindset, but if there is a set way of shipping something, like, we declare everything to the correct, as you saw on that, we've declared it to the correct amount, like the $46,000 for the Allura 65s. Everything is declared correctly. We don't under declare, we don't do anything like that, but other businesses do, and I think it's the only way they survive. Looks like a medical bill. Normal items at 100 times actual cost and a bunch of random fees. Yeah. Like, I don't deal with these. Sharon like handles these for us, so she will probably know inside and out what every single one of these fees is. And when it was DOC and an ERS and an EHA or whatever it was, she will know instantly what all of those are. I don't. So, like, that's where I trust my team to handle it. There's me sitting through corporate training on how we aren't allowed to pay grease payments. I know that sometimes they have to we get like an additional fee to secure the ship that we want. Like, there isn't, and that I think that the unsaid thing there is that it's been a bribe, because it's usually a couple of $100. So yeah. Feels like when you buy a house and keep getting hit with fees for searches, etc. Yeah, I know that one. Tell me about it. Appreciate the transparency. Like, I will be transparent about almost everything. There's some things I can't share just for NDA reasons or commercial reasons, but if you ever want to know something about what we've paid or how we handle things, I will either answer the question about anything at all, or I will tell you why I can't give you the answer. It could be because we've got an NDA in place, or it could be because it's contractually, secret information, or it could be just it's something that I want to keep potentially close to my chest. I don't know, but I will always tell you. Jay, try this link, please. The Kiki ashes don't show for me. I think that's because someone mentioned it to me the other day, and I said I was going to fix it on Monday, and it's on my list of things to do. But I can probably fix it now. I think it's just a tag on the ashes switches. I think it's just a missing tag. I'll put it on now. They should show. No, they shouldn't show there. They should show under the curated list, though. So if you go to in stock switches and Jay's curated switches, they should show up under there, I think. Oh no, they're not. Okay, I know why. I think they will show now. Let's test it. So they should show up under here, which is my curated switches when the page reloads. It might take a minute. Let's go back to the home page and in-stock switches, all in-stock switches. They should show up here in a second. Why is that not working? I think this might just be a caching issue because I've added the tag that was missing. They were missing a tag. Because they're there. Are they going to show now? There you go. Now they show on the in-stock switches. So let's just double check that. Shop in-stock switches, all in-stock switches, and they are there. And they should also show on my curated list as well. In-stock switches, Jay's curated switches, and there they are as well. There you go. All fixed. All fixed. There's a cache thing. Yeah, they show now. Yeah, works for me. Cool. There you go, guys. Right, okay. I've talked about shipping, which I didn't plan on doing, but it is a really complex subject. And to put it into context, my father-in-law was in freight forwarding and shipping for 40 years. Like, he knows it inside now. And like, when we challenge stuff, the only way to get around some of the things that we do is to do things illegally, to underdeclare, to undervalue, to underweigh, and to use less than legitimate means to ship from China to the UK. The only other thing that we could do rather than ship by sea is, well, apart from ship by air, which is too expensive, is ship by rail. Now, since Brexit happened, that is just a nightmare to do because it goes through, it follows basically the Orient Express and all of that eventually. Like, it goes from China and then eventually hits what was the old Orient Express railway through Serbia and all of that kind of route. But when it gets to Germany, It is unvanned there because we have to do it through UPS or DHL or one of the big couriers, and then flown from there to here. And we end up paying imports on that twice because we have to pay EU imports because we're IOSS registered, and then we have to pay UK imports on top, which is really frustrating. We can do a bit of claiming back on that and like a bit of offsetting, but it is like a 3-month delay between being able to do it, and it just adds too much cost to it to be able to do it. So yeah. The old Silk Road. Well, I don't think the actual Silk Road exists anymore. I don't think you can follow it. Although you can probably drive a new version of that now. But the Orient Express. Yeah, that was why I was really excited about that. So we went to we went to a bar in Barcelona. There was 3 of us. It was a great night. And the bar was called the Orient Express. There was basically 2 bars in one. The first bar you went into, you had to go buy a ticket. You got let onto the train by the conductor, and you got to sit down and order a cocktail. And it was like you were sat in a carriage on the Orient Express, and they actually had screens showing the actual Orient Express railway route in the background, so he was like literally like traveling along it. And then the other side of the bar across the road, you ordered a drink and you played a little game to order the drink, which is like a little Cluedo type thing, and then your train, like a train delivered, like there was a train track running across the whole bar, and it would deliver your drink to your station wherever you were sat, which was really fun. Yeah. The new Silk Road doesn't exist anymore either. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Right. Okay. I think it's time to do the keyboard build though now, right? Let's flick back over to here and turn off the browser. Okay. I'll finish up my coffee and then we'll make a start with the keyboard build. But yeah, if any of you have ever got any questions about how we run PT and how you want to understand what we do or how we do it or why it's difficult or anything like that, or why it's easy. Sometimes things are really easy. If you guys want to understand any of that, just ask the question and I'll try and tell you. I will try and tell you. Right, coffee's kind of cold now because I've been streaming an hour. But it's still good. We're going to be doing some cold brew coffee pretty soon with these beans, which I'm pretty excited for. I may have bought a new little tool over the weekend to do some testing with, which would be quite exciting. Yeah, anyway, right. So, I think we need these first. So these are the stabilizers we're going to be using today. These are in stock. These are Type Plus stabilizers, and I think that this is a packet of the full size. Yeah. So there we go. These are the stabilizers we'll be using today, Type Plus stabilizers. We need a lot of them for this board. These are the switches. These are the switches we were just looking at. These are the KeyGeek Ashes round 2 switches. I have been blown away by how good these were in the 21XX last week. So much so that I had planned to use Gateron XR3 in this build today. But I have changed my mind and I bought these off the store this morning because I want to continue the feel of these. These are the 52 gram ones because I prefer the heavier typing feel. These might be my new favorite switch. So yeah, that's what we're going to use. Keyboard. Yeah, this is the TGR Koala that we're using right now. Finally upgraded from Bean to Cup to Sage Touch Impress, such a 9-day difference. Yeah, the Touch Impress is a great machine, dude. Yeah, if you want to buy a proper machine, I have a Londinium for sale, 900 quid. Yeah. Gemma, good evening. I'm going to say good sir then. I don't know why I'm going to say that because that's not true at all. But Gemma, good evening. Thank you very much for being here, my dear. Thank you. Right, yeah, keyboard. I'm a little bit flustered today. I don't know why. Right. Oh, so if you guys don't know, this is the Matrix. Don't go for a Lamazocco. No, don't do it. Don't do it. I have played around with them, and yeah, I'm not convinced by them. Oh, this is really heavy. Okay, Rue's asking a really interesting question here. So let's just answer Rue's question before we build the board. So Rue says, how do your operational costs compare with international vendors, in particular the EU and the US? Do you consider you're in a disadvantage due to taxes, insurance, etc., relative to what they have to cover? Yeah, the cost of doing business here in the UK is significantly higher than doing it in the US. It's not a million miles away from EU, but there's certain, like, shipping to here is much more expensive than it is to the EU because we're an island, so that becomes more of a cost. And there are more, and leasing business commercial space is cheaper in the EU than it is in the UK as well. In the US, imports typically up till now have been significantly easier. Shipping from China to the US is significantly cheaper because more stuff goes there, so it's cheaper. The cost of doing business in the US is cheaper as well, because here we have to do things like paid holidays, which for a full-time equivalent is 28 days a year. So like Sharon and Mel both work on part-time hours basis, but they still get their relevant ratio of that. We also have to do pension contributions, so I have to match or pay more than what the standard is for the pension contributions. We also have to pay minimum wage. I mean, we pay significantly more than the minimum wage anyway, because I don't believe in the minimum wage. I think the minimum wage plus should be a thing, but that's a different thing. So I believe in paying staff well. I believe in, and we have to do things like insurance contributions, national insurance contributions as well. We have to pay for staff. That has gone up significantly, and the cost of accounting here in the UK is astronomical as well comparatively to the US. So if we were to run the same product, let's just say for argument's sake we were going to run a keyboard product, and in the US that would have a profit of $100 US. That's what, 72, 73 pounds right now. From that 73 pounds, instead of having 73 pounds profit, which would be the same as the US $100, we would probably only have about 30 quid profit. So we make about 50% less net profit than the US companies do on the same products. So yeah. I hope that explains it, Rue. I think you probably know a lot of this already, Rue, because because of what you do. You know, you kind of probably understand a lot of this. But yeah, the cost of doing business overall is significantly cheaper in the US. Warehouse space is cheaper in the US. Shipping is cheaper in the US. You don't have to cover yourself with things that you do here, such as employer liability and consumer liability and product liability insurances. Those are legal requirements here in the UK. We also have to do, we have to have annual safety refreshers to meet insurance compliance stuff and things like that. We have to meet environmental standards here. We have to meet cleanliness standards for the workshop. Like the kitchen area has to be to a certain cleanliness standard, which is why we have a cleaner come in each week. There's all sorts of things that we have to do here that are mandated requirements because of the legislation here in the UK that aren't necessarily present in other countries. So we do make significantly less. Like for every $1 of profit in the US, that's probably about 35p in the UK. Yeah, I hope that helps. EU business will differ from country to country. Yeah, if you were in Germany, you'd be significantly more expensive than if you were in, say, you know, Poland, for example. But it does depend on where you are. Yeah. So I hope that helps. What would I get for a Grail coffee machine? One of two. There is a Netherlands company that I can't pronounce, but it's basically Quer something or other. They make really nice machines. It will pop up on my Instagram and I will read it out to you, but I can't pronounce it. They make amazing lever machines. Okay, I can't find it right now, but it's not showing up right now. But when they come up, they make amazing lever machines. They're in the Netherlands, and it's like KWYRS or something. I can't remember. I would buy one of those, or I would buy a Slayer. Those would be the only two machines that I'd probably look at for like ultra high end. But you'd be talking 15, 20 grand each for those. If you're looking for a really good home machine and you want just a pump driven machine, I think Mr. Blackbrook has this right and you go for a decent. If you want a lever machine, look at an ACS. As a Lamazoko owner, careful what you say. I think that like 3, 4, 5 years ago, super hands, I would have gone for one. These days, probably not so much. I think they've been passed on the market, and the micro is not that great. Like the Linné is not that amazing. So yeah. I have to look at my career and then realize that the average salary for it in the US is 3 times the UK salary, but then I'd have to live in the US. So I mean, it's true. It's true. The US has a very different market. Their economic landscape is basically built upon consumerism. They have to consume to keep going. The UK and EU are very kind of anti that stance, and it's still capitalistic in a sense, but it's not as capitalistic. It's kind of capitalism with a side of socialism, right? So yeah. High cost of living too. Yeah, 100%. Right, okay, back to the keyboard, because that was a good question from Rome. So we have 2 boxes. We have this first one, which has the MY-2K 100NG edition logo on, and we're about to have an ad. So maybe I stop sharing this now, because the ad's going to happen in a second. Maybe we just let that happen, and I'll talk to you guys. Like, someone asked me a good question. Let's do that. Let's. If Rue's asked the best question so far, can anyone beat it whilst the ads are showing? Tell me what you want to know. Lazy Cake, oh hey man, thanks for being here. Yeah. The other thing as well, Alvi, is that there's more competition for roles in the US than there is in the UK and EU. So, you know, maybe you'd be paid 3 times more. Would your life be 3 times better? Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, Bezos is about to come in a few seconds, so whilst the advert's going on, if you guys have got any questions, just let me know what you want to know, and I will try and tell you the answer. This is when no one has a question. Has the ad started yet? Ad starting soon. That's all it says. 3/4 of the holiday and benefits though. Like, I think it's 1/4 of the holidays though, right? 1 meal for the rest of your life for each of brekkie, lunch, and din-dins. What? Breakfast. I'd just skip it, man. Like, I don't eat breakfast often enough to want it. And I tend to feel like quite sick towards the end of the morning if I have breakfast too early. So I would just say coffee for breakfast. Like, good coffee. Good coffee. For lunch, I tend not to eat lunch either. But like, I'd probably want something like a salad that I could drop different stuff in, like a really nice like summery salad with some. Oh, there's Bezos. There you go. Like a summery salad with like an egg on it or something like that, maybe. And for dinner, probably something that's really you can do a lot with, like a good steak or something like that. Build up the protein, right? I'd probably go for something.
Tasty.
The USA has regional vendors, but the UK isn't big enough for the likes of CK, NK, Omnitopia, etc. Yeah, 100% it's not. Like, it's a true fact, as that means. If you had, like, if there was another company the size of PT in the UK right now, like, both companies would fail within weeks because there wouldn't be the revenue to keep you going at this kind of size. So, yeah, there just isn't enough buying power in the UK in this hobby to sustain 2 businesses of the size of PT.
Incredible.
I think the other point to that is you would dilute the market too much, and you would end up in a position where both companies would either fail or shrink significantly. And if they shrunk significantly, you'd end up with a point where both companies would just do significantly less. Like because that's how they would have to. There just isn't the space in the hobby in the UK to do, you know, Canon keys, novel keys, Omni type size stuff. There just isn't. I wish there was. I wish the market was bigger here, but the market is shrinking in the UK. It's not growing, and there is very little you can do to grow it. So any growth any individual vendor sees is just cannibalizing the internal markets from another vendor. That's all it is. So it's not real growth. It's false growth through misunderstanding of market powers. Eggs being an aspirational purchase, yeah. Having to keep eggs in the fridge. They wash a protective layer off something. Yeah, we don't keep our eggs in the fridge. They come from the farm sometimes, or sometimes we buy them, but yeah. SREP Keeps, thank you so much for 16 months of subs. Thoroughly appreciate that. In the US, there is no mandatory annual leave. It's entirely down to employee discretion, which is why they all hit the road for 4th of July, Labor Weekend. True. You must be having some pretty substantial teas if you're skipping breakfast and dinner. No, I try and keep myself to less than 1,800 calories a day. Some days it can be as low as 700 or 800 calories. Other days it can be closer to 1,800. But yeah, I tend to not eat lunch unless Mel's here, and then I'll buy her lunch as well. I tend to not eat breakfast and just have a coffee. So yeah. Okay, ads are almost done, so as soon as the ads are done, we'll get back to the keyboard stuff. What's your go-to Greg's order? Probably a steak, bacon, a sausage roll, and a carton of Ribena or something. Oscar Lane, thank you so much for a year, good sir. Thank you so much for a year. What's a Greg's? It's like a fast food pastry. No Greg's here, yeah. Artisanal bakers. I'm not sure I'd put it down as an artisanal baker. That's overselling it, Angry Swan. That's overselling it. Way overselling it. My eggs sit on a shelf in the kitchen. Yeah, my mother and father-in-law have this little spiral that the eggs roll down because they used to keep chickens and stuff like that, yeah. Don't live in the USA if you like room temp eggs. On the topic of refrigeration, where are we keeping the tomato sauce? So before it's opened in the cupboard, once it's opened in the fridge. Yeah. Pre-opening cupboard, post-opening fridge. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pre-opening cupboard, post-opening fridge. Agreement. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I think it's artisanal. I know because you can't spell it without. Where do you keep your toaster, Jay? Here. Here is my toaster. Ta-da! One toaster. That's where I keep my toaster. Worked at Greg's for 4 years. Artisanal as hell. Not biased. It is not artisanal. Actively avoid Greg's. I hate the tacky blue stores and the fact they pushed out local bakeries. Yeah, they just bought everyone out. Yeah. Jay leaves to make toast. No, I went to get the toaster. Right, okay, let's get back to keyboard building and not toasters. Right, okay, so opening the first box, what do we have here? We have a ton of stuff. We have some little gasket sock things. We have some standoffs and some screws. We have some more kind of rubberized standoffs. We have black feet and grey feet. I think we're going to use the black feet though, not the grey feet, so I'll leave those there. We have some O-rings. We have FR4 supporting films, mount supporting films. Okay, interesting. And we also have a bendy ribbon cable, which is interesting. So we'll keep all those out to one side. And we also have a straight ribbon cable as well. So we'll keep that to one side too. And then underneath this, we have more things. We have a foam pack. Now this is a personal build, so you guys can just like or lump the way I build it. We have a plate, which you can see the layout. It is full size. It's going to be interesting. And we have a PCB. Now, this PCB is ANSI only, but there is going to be an ISO build for this at some point. So Matrix Labs have already confirmed they are going to be producing an ISO PCB for this. I have asked them for one, and as soon as it comes, we'll be rebuilding this. So we're going to build it ANSI today, and then we're going to rebuild it later on into ISO. Keep toaster on the counter. Yeah, at home our toaster is on the counter, even though we don't use it very often. Okay, and here is the keyboard. It comes with this cool snazzy box, which is full of all kinds of like retro cool stuff. And then here we have the user manual, which is pretty nice. Nice to get a little user manual. This contains all of the details needed and instructions to build as well, I think. Yeah, PCB layout. So that's the layouts we're working with. We're just going to go with full shift and stepped caps lock today. How to do the interface alignments. for the ribbon cables, how to build the plate and PCB assembly together, how to use the internals. We'll keep this out because this is going to be useful. And then all sorts of key mapping details as well. Really cool. Really cool. Nice to see that. We'll keep that out. Oh, we have a QC Past sticker card thing here as well, which is nice. And then here we have the board itself. Whoa, what a chunk. Oh no, I've pulled off the underside. There is something loose on the board. I can feel something. Oh, it's the rear weight. I can feel. We will fix that. So here is the board. This is the layout. And we have one of the cooler colorways, I think. Oh, look at that. Millennium 100 NG edition. I don't know how many of them these they made, but I think it was quite limited. But I'm pretty excited to put this together. Oh, we've already got feet installed, so we won't need the feet either. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a nice build guide. Right, let's oh, there's all sorts of like little stickers on there. On the sides and in places. Right, let's take the case apart and have a look inside. I think this is the screwdriver we need. Yes. I don't know if it's Matrix doing it or not. Albert just mentioned it to me and asked me if I want one, so yeah. Super nice box. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, I think Faye's taking a little break, but I think there will be some more opportunities or Matrix handling it for her in the meantime or something like that. Okay, let's see if we can figure out how this case comes apart. I've taken off the front edge, but I'm suspecting we have something on the rear here. Is it just clips in place? Just clips? It is just clips. So the top case should now come off. There we go. This is the top case. And you can see it has the ball catch system for the rear. And then the other bit was on the front. This is cool. This is the connector here for the screen that you can see just in here and here. And that connects to this little PCB here. Pretty cool. Pogo pin connectors, but on a bigger scale. Oh, we do have the cable already pre-installed, so we don't need to worry about that. Let's take out the foam and take a look at the inside. So you can see there is a protective sheet in here, which I can't actually take out because it's not left up. Yeah, protective sheet in here. We'll probably put that back in. And then you can see we have the two ribbon cables pre-installed. So the fact that we have spares is great, but I'll put those to one side because we're not going to need them. And then we also have a sticker here which holds them down for that daughter board just underneath. So we'll peel this off gently. There we go. So you have one that connects to the PCB, and the other one connects to this daughter board, which then connects to this daughter board, which then connects to the screen here and here. And then the other screen that we need to connect to, which is the dot matrix display up here, that will then connect to the PCB through this JST cable. So that's the plan. Now, I did notice that the rear weight was a little bit loose. So let's see if we can identify which screws hold that in place and rectify it. Is it going to be this one and this one? I'm not sure. Let's see if I can get these out. Oh wow, I just dropped that into another hole. What an idiot. as well. There we go. And then I think like this back piece should come out now. No. So how do we tighten that? Okay, so it wasn't those two screws. I'm wondering if we have to take off the entirety of the underside to get it to figure it out. Let's put these two little grub screws back in. Okay, so I can't get that one back in because the part has moved. So I think we're going to have to just take the bottom out now and try and figure it out from here. Perhaps I shouldn't have undone these screws, but never mind. Let's figure it out, because I do need to fix this rear part, so we'll get it sorted. Let's take out that screw. Rank connections, ribbon, JST, pogo, etc. from least favourite. I think I prefer a JST over anything else just because it's easy. Ribbon cables can get in the bin a lot of the times. These ones are not the typical ribbon cables. These are the push connect ribbon cables. These ones are pretty okay from my personal perspective. But there are others I really dislike. I'm not a huge fan of the Molex connectors that are quite common in keyboards at the moment. There is a screw there, but I can't quite get to it. Is that Torx? Okay, so we have one piece out. I think I'll get another piece out in a second. There we go. There we go, that's those two out. That screw does not come out. I do think we're going to have to take this ribbon cable out here, just like so, and that one off as well. Put that to one side. Right, let's see if we can get the Torx screwdriver in for those. That's too big. That's too small. That's just right. Okay. Take these screws out, and then hopefully the weight will drop off the bottom and we can fix everything. There we go. So that's the main part off the bottom. This is the part that I lost off the side, so I can reattach this now. Let's take a look at the underside. I'm going to lose a few screws if I flip this over, so let me just try and do this gently. There we go. So here we have the underside, and you can see that this is the piece that's loose. This is kind of like all one piece. So now we can tighten this up. And I think we're going to need this screwdriver. And there we go. It is now all solid and looking nice and neat. Okay, next job then is to put this little twirly bit on the side back on the other side. So we can do that, we can hold it in place now. And we can take the little tiniest grub screw drop that into position. It says fat dumbing it, and screw that back down. Okay, great. So now that's done, we can put this piece back. So this is the main part of the weight. We can realign this, flip it back over, and get this back into position. It should be around there. And then this is held in place by 4 screws. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3, and then there should be 1 more, which is there. That's 4. Great. Okay, we can reconnect that cable as well. Or we can when we line it up. There we go. Nope. There we go, I think it's in. Yep. Okay, now we've done that, we can pop these 2 parts back on, which go on. I have to go the opposite way around now, so that goes in that position there. It says dropping it off the board. Okay, we need 2 screws for this. But now we have no more worries about the weight being loose on the back. And we can retighten this screw up. Just like so. And this one as well. Just like that. And then we can take this piece. We're going to put this on the other side. 2 more screws there. 1 and 2. Okay. Excellent. And then we can put this ribbon cable back in. So these are the kind of like the Prested ribbon cables, I want to call them. They're quite interesting, quite unique. But we can just pop it down. You tend to see these inside phones and stuff like that, so they're quite robust, but they're not designed to be removed very often. And they're a pain to align as well. There we go. Cool. So that's the bottom case all back together. And no longer with a real loose weight. Let's pop this back in. Gemma, thank you so much for the, Blackbrook, thank you so much for the gifts of the Gemma. I thoroughly appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. There we go. That's all back in. Oh wait, we have a beard hair trapped. Let's not do that. There we go. Cool. And now we can pop the hot swap phone back in as well. There we go. Right, that's the bottom case all prepped. Time to start prepping the PCB for our stabilizers. I'm just going to put the bottom case out of the way, next to the toaster, and we'll get our tub of lube, and I'm just going to put a cloth down to keep the lube off everything. Right, time to lube up some stabilizers. Right, whilst we're doing that as well, I will also catch up with chat, see what you guys have been talking about. And I wish there was a more substantial alternative to JSTs. Always feel like I'm going to pop the connector on the JST. I get that. Do we need 7U or 6.25U for the spacebar here? I think this is 7U only, I think. But let's double check that. So, where's the stabilizer for the spacebar? It is 7U only. There we go. And we also need stabilizers for 2 here, so 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6 2U stabilizers. 6 2U stabilizers. Okay, so let's lay this out a little bit more convivially. Just because these are left-handed and right-handed stabilizers, we're just going to make sure we align them correctly. And then we need 6 2Us, so that's 1. Remember, you can't swap the housings from one side of the stabilizer to the other. They are fixed on these. So just remind me, we've got 1, 2, 3 on the numpad, and then we've got, so it's 3, and we've got backspace, enter, left shift, right shift. Oh, we need quite a few. We need up to 7. Okay, where's one short? So this is going to take us a little while to assemble and loop these. Got to love a good full-size build every now and again. There we go, and we're going to need screws. And for this build, I'm not going to use the pads just because I prefer it without. But yeah, there we go. Okay, nearly messed this up there. There we go. Right, let's catch up with chat. James had approved the screw count. AKB James. Yeah, there's a lot of screws there. Thick cables. What else are you talking about in chat? UDB4 Molex EasyMate can get in the bin. Yeah, I don't like this trend of using the Molex EasyMates. I have a board with IDE style cables inside it. Big hefty connectors, not compact board though. Yeah, I mean, big connectors are fine. Blimey, that's flying by. Time is flying by. Will be interesting to see if all your keys work. Should do. That beard hair was sus. Thanks. I mean, it's a beard hair. It can be as sus as you want. I can 100% guarantee it's not another type of hair. Don't think there was a beard hair. What do you think it was then? What do you think it was? I have one of those boards and 2 hot swap PCBs, but the F13 backspace and right control don't work on either. I need to contact the vendor again. So you have one of the 100 NGs. Okay. Always checks chat right after I say something wholesome. Looks like Jay killed a Muppet and made a rug out of them. Yeah, I got these for car cleaning, but they're super nice. Someone's skin gritty. Has anyone ever had an EasyMate connector fail? No, but I don't like them. Oh, the TKL one? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Right, okay, so let's go for this first. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to assemble the stabilizers. If you haven't assembled Type Plus before, what you'll see is the housings are mirror images of one another. So effectively you have a left and a right side. Let me zoom in for this actually, because I want to try and get this really clear so you can see. So you have a left and a right housing. These are mirror images of each other. As you can see there, the top and the bottom openings are exact mirror images of each other. Try and get it so the light shows you. They are exact mirror images of each other. The opening is kind of in an L shape. This is so hard to show you on camera, but the opening is in kind of like an L shape. Oh, come on, lights, please. And there you go, you can see it's like an L shape. It's like along and then up. The L goes to the outside of the stabilizer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the insert, which has got a square hole on the front, which you can see just there. Square hole goes to the front, and that means that this bar that's on the base, this goes to the inside of the stabilizer. So you can put that inside the housing. just like so. That's now inside the housing. That will slide up and down inside there, nice and easy. I'm going to try and just change the brightness on this so you can see. Where's the camera? Overhead camera, properties. Let's see if we can brighten this up a little bit. Let's edit the filters, see if we can make this a little bit brighter. Oh, that's way too much. Oh, don't want that much saturation. Okay, this is really difficult to get right. I want it to be brighter. Contrast, is that what I need? Okay, there we go. Oh, no, that's way too much contrast. Oh my god, this is so difficult to get right. Oh my god, I'm barely adjusting these sliders here, and it's just absolutely knocking there. Okay, that's probably going to be as bad as close as we can get it. So you can see that these the L shape, and this is on the inside, and then on the underside, that bar is going to go to where the inside is. Now what you're going to do from here is you're going to take your wire with the hook on the end. You're going to put your hook into the top of the hole of the stabilizer. You're going to flip it upside down, and you're going to see the hook come through, and you're going to slide it into the bar that you can see there. So you're going to slide it into that rail, and then you're just going to loop the front round and click it in, and that's it. That's it. Just going to flick it round and in. So I'll show you that again. I'm going to take your housing, hold your housing so it's correct like this. I'm going to take the slider, insert it so it's in the correct position. Take your wire, you're going to hook through the hole. You're going to go in through the hole. I can't see what I'm doing now. You go in through the hole, make sure it's hooked in on the base, inside the wire there. You can see it's just inside that clip. Then you're going to pull it slightly forward and then click it down, and that's it. We're just going to repeat that on all of these stabilizers. I bet the color's going to be yank when we zoom back out. Can we have a mix the lube button to spend prototypist points on? Maybe. Like, the problem with mixing lube is you lose so much of it in a big tub like this, because it kind of like comes out like on whatever device you've used to mix it. Gives me co-star flashbacks. These are the only these are probably the best stabilizers on the market right now, and you assemble them before you lube them as well. They're much easier to lube once they are pre-assembled, and once you get pretty good at it, like, it doesn't take long to assemble these. It takes not much longer than a normal stabilizer, but it's worth it, because these don't come out, these don't pop out ever. Like, the wires just can't pop out because of the shape of them. He says now as he struggles with this one. There we go. But you can't put them together the wrong way around, because they just don't work. So you can't put the left hand side on the right hand side. You can't put the top housing into the bottom housing on the wrong side. It just doesn't work like that for these. Jay's the best at teaching how to insert. No comment. But like, once you get going, it's just a case of putting the hook through, getting it into the right position, and then clicking in the front. They work pretty well. So it's a case of hook down and through, click it into the right part, and then push it into the front. Once you get used to it, they go together really quickly. You might not be able to use these stabs for your spider. Why? Not sure if you need to use clip-ins. So for the Spider TKL, if you want to use the gummy O-ring mount, I think the only one you would need to use clip-ins for is the space bar. I haven't tried the Spider TKL with these. These stabilizers went out when we built the Spider, but you should be able to use it for everything except the space bar on gummy O-ring mount. But you might be able to use them on gummy O-ring mount. There are some times where you can use these on gummy O-ring mount. I built a couple of keyboards with them on gummy O-ring. Oh, I've missed the thing. There we go. Are they worth it over Cherry and C3 in your opinion? Considering that they're cheaper than Cherry and C3 stabilizers, yeah. Okay. Once they're assembled, lubrication is even easier. Because you can see the wire through the base so clearly, you can lubricate the wire through the base really, really simply. So what we do is you take a small dollop of lube on the brush. Doesn't have to be too much, just a small amount. And then all you do is you push it into the hole on the base and kind of like brush it through. And as you're brushing it through, you're basically coating the wire all across the bottom. And then as you flip the stabilizer around, there is such a large hole on the front where the wire goes in that you can kind of just push a little bit more lube on your brush, and you can just follow the wire up into the stabilizer, and then all you want to do is brush it round and around the corner. And that's it. That's one side of the stabilizer lubed. We're going to repeat that on the other side and then do it for the rest of them. So we're just going to put a small amount in the base, brush it onto the wire, flip around to the front, small amount on the brush, follow the wire up and inside, brush it down, come around the front, and then clean off the brush with as much as possible. And then all you're going to do is paint a really thin layer on the slider rails. Just like so. These don't need much tuning at all. You can be quite generous, or if you prefer a more clacky sound, less generous with the lube. They're going to feel pretty smooth anyway. So. Enough of a brush here to do all the parts, so I'm just going to do all the parts. A bit of fluff. Showing you guys from this angle might be a bit more easy. Remember, you're not trying to gum these up, you're just trying to make them nice and smooth, so you don't want to put too much on. Jay's small amount is a lot more than my small amount. Like these you can, I want these to be a little bit more silent than normal, but like you can, like underneath you, it doesn't matter how much you're putting in these, they don't really gum up like normal Cherry ones do. At least not in my experience. Your mileage may vary. But the amount I put on the slider rails is very, very light. But you want the wires nicely coated so they don't rattle. I would go a lot lighter on other stabs. Really thin amount on the slider rails. You basically just want to make it smooth, not to gum it all up. You too can buy this much lube if you want to. Like, these are available at many retail outlets. This is where you want to be really fine with it. Just enough to coat it to make it look wet. Any more than that, then you've got too much on there. Okay. What defines a long pole switch? I've always gone with travel is is less than 3.6 millimeters. It's long pole. I think that depends. Like, I don't know what the I don't think there is a strict definition. I've seen many different switches claim that they're long pole. So I don't know if it's 3.6 or 3.4, but I don't know if there is a general consensus out there on it. I've always just gone with the consensus, whatever the manufacturer tells us. Does the manufacturer state that it's long pole? Then we tend to go with that as their definition here. You definitely don't have half a kilo. Nice.
Tasty, tasty.
Motion, thank you so much for the 5-month streak of subs. Thoroughly appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much for that. So how do I tell if a switch is long pole if it doesn't explicitly state in the description? If the manufacturer doesn't state it, then assume it's not. Would be my guess. Like, I think it's one of those subjective things. Like, people always say, "Oh, when do vints start?" And I have West German vints and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, you know. I've heard people say production dates for 94 are vints. I've heard people say production dates before 2000 are vintage switches. You know, it depends on your kind of your tolerance for the definition. I think. I don't think there's a general consensus. Matt never wants to see anyone. I think Matt specifically hates me sometimes. It's entirely by the length of the stem now. Is there a long pole and full travel nowadays? Yeah, formula. Yeah, I think it should be determined by how far the switch depresses to get to bottom out. I think that's the logical choice for me, but I don't think that that's necessarily true for all switches. But I think that's where it should be, because you can have full travel and long pole on some switches, or some switches that do full travel and claim they're long pole, but they're just normal switches really. They're not long pole. The poles are the travel is still the same. So I think long pole should be determined by travel distance, but where you want to draw that line is probably a community decision. But I'd say somewhere around 3.5, 3.6 millimeters is probably, in my head, is the right number. If any of you guys have got a better way of trying to describe it, then let me know. Long pole is when the stem hits the bottom before the rails, but how to tell from specs is my issue. Yeah. I don't think you can always tell from specs. I think sometimes you'll have to open up a switch to check it. Okay, last one to lube, and then we can go on and get on these installed. Okay. Almost done. Right. Let's pop the lubricant away. And then we can gently place these here, and we can get our PCB ready. There we go. Dry off my hands. Right, let's zoom back out, because you guys are going to need a little bit more space to see the PCB and the plate here. So, PCB first. You're always happy to see me, you just live the other end of the country. I don't think it's the other end of the country. It's not like you live on the south coast, and I don't live on the north coast. I think it's like the core of the country. Okay, here's the PCB. Gap here for the screen. Let's start to put these into place. So these are screw-in stabilizers, so I'm just going to line them up first, see if they're going to hook in, or if we're going to have to do them individually. We're probably going to have to do these individually. Semantics, still too far. The thing is, right, I probably drive... Like, I went to London for a meeting the other day, and, like, I don't think that's too far for, like, a meeting. I think that's fine. Like, so people have this idea that travel is too far sometimes. I don't necessarily agree. Okay, I went down to see Pex not so long back. Pex has been up to see me at the workshop before. I think that's okay. I went down to Woking for a meeting not so long back as well. Well, I say that it's a couple of years now, but you know. I don't think there's anything wrong with a bit of travel in the UK. We have some good roads. That's 2, I don't want 2. Oops. Need to save up for another trip to Cumbria. Yeah, we should do that, dude. Next time I'll cover your hotel. I want to do Scarfell Pike again, so if you're down for that, Moons, we can arrange a day and get that done. Just let me know when, but I'll sort you out a hotel. Okay, gonna put the ANSI enter one in now. It's 10 hours from Sydney to Melbourne. I really do not have the time for your distance complaints. Exactly, right? Like, I don't think that anywhere in the UK is too far to drive to. I think it's all achievable, and I've driven to almost every part of the UK over the years. So, but I like driving, so perhaps I'm biased. I know a lot of people don't like driving, but I love it. Crispies came to my house with 12 hours notice. I went down to the Bristol meetup a couple of years back. I only decided like the night before I was setting off, so I set off at like 4 AM. Decided like 8 PM I was going. I'm gonna fly London to Perth for 18 hours in May. That's a commute. Yeah, I feel like that feels like a commute. Oh, dude, that sounds like a really cathartic trip, Moons. I hope it's nice. I hope you have the weather for it. Melbourne, not Melbourne. Like Loughborough and Worcestershire. Okay. I'd like to do a European road trip at some point. Yeah. I need to borrow your brother's car as well. One of my holidays driving from Los Angeles to Vegas, just over 500 miles. Dude, that sounds like a great drive. One of the things I've always wanted to do is drive from across Canada, like from Vancouver to somewhere on the far side. If I actually, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do Vancouver to New York. That's what I'd like to do. Spend the majority of it in Canada, and then just drop down for Niagara Falls, and then down from Niagara to New York. I'd love to do that. That's a drive that I would absolutely love to do at some point. I just need to find someone willing to do it with me, and I have a vehicle capable, but I would love to do that. Take like a month to do it. It'd be awesome. You just put more carbon all over it? Dude, okay. If you'll lease it out to me for the day, let me know. Because I'd love to take it for a test drive just to see if I'm going to buy one or not. I know it's not quite the same as the estate, but Wish the UK trains were cheaper. Yeah, so I did take the train down to London last week when I went down, which was fine. It's like 2 hours from here. It's like half an hour's drive to the station, 2 hours down, and then half an hour on the tube to where I needed to be. Like, it's fine. It's like, I don't think I used to commute that twice a week. So I used to do every Tuesday and Thursday for about 5 years. I would go down to London and get the 6 a.m. train from Wakefield Westgate to get to London for 8 o'clock, which meant I was in the office for 8:30, 8:45. And then I'd do the same commute back. I'd get the 5:30 train, get back to Wakefield for 7:30, get home for 8 p.m. And I do that every Tuesday and every Thursday for nearly 5 years. I drive 106 miles just to go to work. So my commute on a daily basis is kind of like nothing really. I live about so because there's one-way systems, it's about 3 miles to work and it's about 2 miles home. So yeah, so I can be home within like 6 minutes of leaving PT sometimes. But I have no problem commuting places. Like, I do it frequently. Oops, that registered. There we go. I think I'm an anomaly though. I think most people in the UK think half an hour is probably as far as they want to go on the train or commuting to work. Half an hour is probably most people's limit, I'd say. But I do wish trains were cheaper here. I used to drive for a living, don't miss it, work from home now. Yeah, I wouldn't want to drive like a lorry or anything, but I used to do Swansea to Guildford there and back in the day. Only did it as I had a fuel card. Nice. Thank God for audiobooks. Yeah. Walk 15 minutes to work, wouldn't do the job otherwise. Like, if I wanted to walk, I could probably do it in half an hour, I think. Don't have the one-way systems if I walk. Okay, 2 more stabilizers to go, and then it's time for a plate and some switches. Oh, that's a bit tighter. Why is that tight? I'll take that out because that felt a bit. There we go. There we go. "35-minute cycle to work has changed my life, going from 2-hour drive." Yeah, that sounds nice as well. Okay. Right, last stabilizer to go in the board. There we go. Oh, okay, so we are we are one washer short here. I think I have a spare, so we'll be okay. Spare from that tub. There we go. Commuting to the next room is unbeatable. Maybe. I would struggle to work from home though, I think. Like, I'd need a separate building or a separate dedicated workspace where I couldn't be disturbed, just because I'm much more productive when I'm at an office space or something like that compared to when I'm at home. Washer fell under one of the silver bags. Ah, yes, you're right, it's by the mouse, but there we go. I'll put that back there. There we go. Cool. Right, okay, so that's all of our stabilizers installed. Next job is to pop the PE foam in. You guys can complain about it, but I'm going to use it. And this is where I find that we need to trim the foam to get it in place or something. I'm taking off the stabilizers. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, so that looks like that's all good from there. Okay, so we can get those ones in. I just need to put 3 cuts in here. 4 cuts in. Do I have a knife up here? No. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to take a quick comfort break and grab a little pen knife just to cut this open. I'll be back in... Give me a minute, guys. I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, I apologise about that, guys. I am now back. Jay's literally having a slash. Yeah. Very quickly out. 75 miles to my office, which is why I haven't visited for almost 2 years. Supposed to go once a quarter, but yeah, nah. I don't think that's too bad. Like, but I'm very different. I quite like to be in the office, as I said before. Right, I'm just going to use this box so I don't slice anything through. So I'm just going to slice through the PE sheet, just where we need to insert the stabilizers. And if I'm clever on this one, we should be able to do just 1 cut. Might take a bit of finagling, but I think we can do that. And then we just need 1 cut here. Now, I could have got away with that if I had put this sheet in before I did the before I installed the stabilizers, but I was silly and didn't check. So if you're building one of these guys, just make sure to note that first. Just gently using my blade to tuck that along. There we go. Now we're just going to tuck that one through. And then these ones through as well. That's all going to lay down nicely there. Then we've got one to tuck through on the space bar here. Nice. And then that last one just there. Okay, great. That is now the PE sheet done. Right, also going to put the foam in here, and then we're going to get the plate. Nicely nice. And then we're going to be able to use the standoffs to screw everything together. Link to knife. I can't remember where I got this one from, if I'm honest. I do have a little knife project that I've been working on for a while though. So hopefully that's something that Salva might be able to share with everyone soon as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to install the plate and PCB together. Because it's a hot swap, there are kind of like standoff points to go through, and what we're going to do is we're going to install those first. So I think what we might do is take this foam off, install the standoffs first, which are here, and then we can put the plate and the top plate and the foam in place afterwards. So let's get this worked out. Did this with your Magic 3? Yeah. Maybe. No comment. Okay, so there's two types of screws in here. There are larger ones and smaller ones. We're going to put the larger ones in first, and what we're going to do is push it through from the rear through the hole. And then we're going to hold it in place with our finger, and then we're going to screw down the standoff onto the part, and then we're going to hold the standoff, use our screwdriver, and tighten it until we feel the standoff twist on the other side. And we're just going to do that in each of the locations that we need to. So, large screw through, hold it, take the standoff, screw the standoff in place as far as we can. Hold the standoff and pin it in place as tight as you can with your finger. Take the screwdriver and twist it until you can feel the standoff turn underneath your finger. Don't worry about it too much because we're going to tighten them up even more later on. And then we're going to use these standoffs to align the foam in between layers as well in a second. Okay, now we've got some more on this top row to do. Come on. I definitely need to trim my nails tonight. They're slightly too long at the minute. I don't like snap-off blades. I much prefer replaceable blades because I tend to use the ceramic ones. Okay, this one does not want to go on. What is going on with you? Try that again. There we go. Third time lucky on that one. Okay, I've got one more to do. On the top, which is going to go in just there. Oh, looks like we've got ads again. Hello, Mr. Bezos. I probably have 30 or 40 knives, but I do like them. Snap off? You like snap off? I've never been a fan of the snap off blades. I just don't get on well with them. I always worry about where I'm snapping them off and what I'm doing with the end that I'm snapping off, if that makes sense. I feel like I'd need a sharp spin for that. Having another thing like a sharp spin is difficult. Like the standard Stanley blades that we use, or whatever you want to call the standard box cutter blades. Why is that? Oh, I'm holding the wrong thing. We kind of like keep them until we put them back in a package, and then we drop them off at the local hardware store. It's like a pack of 10 that they come in, and it's got two sides to it. So we fill them up. And I can use the ceramic blades that way then as well, which I much prefer. I feel like the ceramic blades are a little bit safer these days. got this and then one more standoff to do. And then we can put the foam in place and the plate, and then we can put our switches in. So we are making good progress. This is where one of the mods says time check J because you're miles behind. Where's the last one? There is another one, I know there is. There it is. Okay, cool. So that's all of the standoffs installed, these little brass nubbins here. So now we're going to just make sure the PE foam sheet is aligned as best we can. We can stretch it and move it around a little bit later on if we need to. And we're going to pop in the actual switch foam. And we're just going to press that in around the areas that we've just popped those in. Make sure everything's laying nice and flat. And then there is a little bit of foam, which is just here, which is for the space bar, which is going to go just like so. Then we're going to take the plate from the top, drop that down, and then we have these little countersunk screws, which we're then going to pop in. Need a smaller screwdriver for these, and just screw the plates together, and this will tighten up those connections as well. Just going to go one diametrically opposed just so we get the correct alignment across. What plate is it? This is aluminium. It's an aluminium plate. As far as I know, these only came with an aluminium plate, but I could be wrong. I've used an Ultim PEI plate. So we've used Ultim for a few things over the years here at the workshop. I haven't ever used it as a plate, but I do have one on the way to me for the bias, which we built a few weeks ago. So we'll be doing a rebuild with that plate once it arrives. I will chase up the wonderful Manu when those are ready. Could you build without the standoffs? I think the standoffs are recommended for hot swap just because they keep the plate and the PCB assembly together, so it's holding the plate and PCB together nice and neatly. But you could absolutely build it without the standoffs if you wanted to. You just have to take a little bit more care on installing your switches and holding everything together. Cool, okay. So that's now the plate and PCB assembly securely attached to each other. It's now time to install switches. I'd say we are using the Ashes R2 switches today. Yeah, the Manta will have Ultim plates as well, yeah. So I'm just going to start by installing some switches just around the center, and then working my way in a kind of spiral pattern out from here. And we're just pushing these in just gently, making sure the PE sheet underneath is aligned nicely. That's all looking good so far. And then if we need to, as we get further away from the center, we can kind of like stretch and push and pull the PE sheet underneath. We can make sure that the switch foam is nicely embedded as well. Let's pop the space bar in. Let's start working this way a little bit now. Everyone needs at least one matrix for the collection. Yeah, I would agree. is the Ultim plate from Hype KB. Here Thomas making them. No, we've got some sheets here at the workshop to test and create on the laser, but I haven't dialed it in yet. Like, so it might be something we have as a plate material in the future. I just need to do a lot of testing. Once I've made like 30 or 40 plates and I'm comfortable with them, we might release it as material we can offer. But it'll be a lot more expensive than POM because the sheets are not cheap for Ultim. I don't want to offer something that if I'm not confident we can't cut it right pretty much first time every time, like we do with POM. Like, it's rare we have something that's an issue with a POM plate these days because we've cut so much of it. Okay, starting to go together pretty nicely now. JQ, thank you so much for 40 months of subs. Welcome. You are perfectly on time today, sir. Ultim is louder than what you'd expect. I'd expect it to be quite loud and clacky, to be honest. Just knowing what the... I mean, we've got a ton of Ultim knobs here. We've even had some keycaps made in Ultim before as like a test. There was some dotted around at our Opendale a little while ago. Not sure if anyone picked any of those up, but there are a few Ultim keycaps out there now. I don't think we'll ever manufacture them at scale though. Sure, even if Ultim is more spendy, it'll be more than shipping from Maple Syrup Land. It'll be cheaper from the UK. Yeah, okay, yeah, it'll be cheaper to order from us if we do stock it. But like, I don't want to do it until I know that we can do it well, if that makes sense. Like, I think a lot of time people like offer these plate materials and they've cut like 3 or 4 plates with it, and it's like, I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, you know? We do have a few sheets that I can play around with, so maybe we'll give that a try in the next week or two while we're quiet before the next shipment arrives, unless the F1s turn up this week, in which case all time will go out of the window because there's a lot of work to do on the F1s. Like, there's a lot of QC, a lot of packing, a lot of picking. It's going to be a lot of work. Mel is not going to be happy when they arrive. Oh wait, did they go? Yeah, okay. Okay, so about 2/3 done now. Are these pre-lubed? Yeah, these are factory lubed. I'm blown away by how good these switches are in sound. We built them in the 21XX prototype last week by Pontus, which sadly I don't have anymore. I had to ship it off straight to Cannon Keys the next morning. But yeah, that was a nice board. I wish I'd been able to keep it a bit longer to try it out for longer, but is what it is. And I was just blown away by how good these switches sounded in there, so I wanted to use them in a personal build, and this was next on the list for me to build. So, and if they sound good in this, I'll probably put the lighter version in the Oku that we're going to build next week. I think we're going to build the Oku next week, actually. Anyone take advantage of the 10% off in-stock boards? Well, the 10% off in-stock boards finishes at the end of the stream, so you guys can still get 10% off any in-stock keyboards between now and the end of the stream. So take advantage of that if you will. These are the 52-gram switches. Okay. Okay, that's all of our switches in the board. It's looking pretty nice. Too light for me. Need to swap. Yeah, like the 52 grams feel okay for me. I do tend to prefer a heavier switch, but in the Oku, I want a really light switch when I build that. I looked at the in-stock cubes, saw the Ayla, and got excited and realised it was only a part. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, that's a really old board. Like, the Aylas we just could not sell. We had them in stock for, like, years, and we had to drop the price down to, like, 100 quid just to get them to sell. It was a really difficult board to sell, despite it being really nice. It's the Friends and Family colour moons with copper base. Copper weight. Right, okay. So, now we have installed that. Let's just double-check in the manual how we're going to install the plate and PCB. Okay, so this is really easy. So in the bottom case, we have to put the little gasket tabs, and then we drop in the little prongs into the plate, and then we have like little rubber holders to hold them in place. So we can probably put these in now. So these are little rubber holders. What's the go-to weight for linears versus tactiles? I tend to prefer tactiles a lot heavier than linears. Linears, usually it's probably around, I probably tend to prefer somewhere around 60 grams. Tactiles, I probably tend to prefer around 70 to 80 grams. But to be honest, I'm easy these days. The more I type on different keyboards, the more I'm okay with significantly different weights to that. So my preferences are light. So just popping these into the mounting points. It's like a little tadpole type device. That will also be used as alignment pins. So you can see that those are installed now. These pins on the front edge, like this one here. So installed those all around. And then the next job is to pop O-rings on top of those, on top of the plate. Because these kind of have like an O-ring built into the middle just because of the shape of them. That's those installed, nice and easy. Right, okay, and then next we need to install these little blue bars and the yellow bits as well, which go in the base. So I'm going to pop that to one side for a second. I think with the yellow bits and the blue bars are these two. Yeah, I have one of his coasters that's just off camera here, and a little artisan tray as well. Okay, let's get the base back. And then we're going to bob these little square pieces which look like Lego. These have got little seated housings in the case. Like that. You can see that's got it in there. And then these little FR4 pieces stretch across those. So we're going to put one in there and there. And then...
Incredible.
That across like so, I think. Oh, actually, do they not go in the outside wall? They go in the inside. Okay, I see. So I had that slightly wrong. you know what I'm going to have to do? I think we're going to have to install these into here first because they're quite tight on these FR4. We install two like this, one on either side to make it a bridge. And they need a little bit of coaxing. And we should be able to pop that in, just like so. There we go. Okay, that's one in. This might take a little while. Let's try and get these done quickly. These are quite stiff, so I'm just having to twist them to get them to fit in. That's two. I think these external ones use the outside holes. No, they use the inside holes. Oh, they should be shorter ones. There we go. There are shorter ones for the outside edges. Let's use those. Yeah, there's different length bars, yeah. You've got the coup in there? Yeah. Go wider for more flex. I tend to prefer a stiffer typing experience, but we can always change this later on depending on how it works. See, this way I'm keeping them consistent, so the shorter bars do fit the middle size, so we'll keep it consistent across the whole piece, I think. Yeah, so these two and these two have more options, but I think we're just going to keep it consistent. I feel like consistency is key. If anyone knows how many of these boards I made, I'd be interested to know. Because I feel like I was quite lucky to win the opportunity to purchase one, but I don't know how rare these are. These I think are 1.2. These feel like 1.2 millimeters thick. But that's just a guess. Okay, right, last two need to be long ones. Raffle, so I imagine less than 50. Oh, I feel quite lucky then to have this. It does mean that I'll finally be able to sell my Able though, which is the previous full-size board I have from Matrix Labs from about 7 or 8 years ago. Okay, last one. There we go. Right, let's pop those to one side. Pop them back in the bag. S100, whenever that ships. Yeah, it's not too far away, I don't think. We don't need the spare feet because we already have feet installed. There we go. That's all of these little tabs. Just to show you up close what these look like installed. You can see them just there. So next job is to connect the ribbon cable on our PCB, which I don't really like these pressed type cables, but I prefer them to other types of ribbon cable, I think. Just like so. And then we're just going to gently lower this into place. And then what we need to do is we need to push this down so that the pins... Oh, do you know what, actually? I'm going to take these pins out of here. I'm going to do this slightly separately. I'm going to put the pins into the FR4 plate, because the FR4 plate holes are tighter. And then I'm going to align the PCB onto the plate onto it, just because I think this is going to be a little bit easier from a build perspective. Yeah, I'm glad I did this, because these don't want to go in. I need some manhandling to get them in place. Yeah, I'm going to do the JST once I've got everything lined up nicely, just because the JST is a little bit shorter. But the JST goes in the top case as well, so it's not on the bottom. They are very tight. Yeah, I'm struggling. I think doing it this way and dropping the plate on is probably the better way. So I'm trying to twist these as I put them in, which you might not be able to see on camera, but I am trying to twist these as I insert them. I think the holes in the aluminium will be significantly more forgiving than the ones in the FR4. There we go. Let's get these in first. Fancy a QK101 in the Dold spec that he posted the day with MTNU. The Dold has posted some amazing keyboards recently. He's sometimes he watches these streams. I don't know if he's watching today, but I have been very impressed. In fact, I wonder if he'd be open to taking some pictures for us, because I've been very impressed with some of the stuff that he's done. I'll have to message him and see. Almost there now. There we go. I'd love if Dole did a tutorial on how he takes the pictures. Well, then he wouldn't have his USP, would he? Yeah, that was definitely the right call to do them that way. Nice, nice, nice. Put the little O-rings back. If you're struggling to move extras, just get Dole to post a few pics in the gallery. I don't know if his posts I've never checked to see if his posts increase sales of anything, but I should probably check that at some point. But I would like him to take some pictures of some products for us. Okay, now we can connect the JST cable that goes up here, so I'm just going to put that in. There we go, and then I'm going to click down the top case in the top corner. There we go, it's all clicked in. Then I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to put in the screws on the front edge. And then we'll be ready to test the keyboard and make sure it works. Wrong screwdriver, correct screwdriver. This should hold everything together nicely. You mean the Dole isn't a prolific keyboard photo taker that people aren't trying to get their stuff to? He buys all the stuff himself. Yeah, he doesn't like, he messages and says, Jay, are you going to have X, Y, and Z because I'd like it. But he buys everything. Yeah, no one sends him anything for free, as far as I'm aware. Okay, there we go. Here's what we're looking like so far. Now it's time to plug in and give it a test. So let's load up Switch Hitter. Bring the keyboard down a little bit so you can see. And we're going to plug in with this cable here, which should work. We have lots of lights. And this beep is the good noise. We're using ANSI here, so let's switch over to that. So let's just check everything works. Okay, top row is all working. All looking good so far. Still looking good. Okay. Oh. Don't know why that's showing up red. I think we're okay there. Okay, that's probably going to be FN key, so I will trust that. That's all working. Delete page up, page down is working. 0, point, enter, plus, minus, multiplication, divide, numlock. Turn numlock off. And you will see that there is some scroll lock LEDs there, numlock LEDs there, and caps lock has an LED as well. I think they're showing up just here, look. So yeah, all good. Everything's working on the keyboard. I think this is going to be an FN key. We've got some pretty cool stuff going on the board, so I will show you this. So first of all, the dot matrix display up here is showing as Fuakwaa. And then here you'll see that we've got a few different little bits of information. We've got the swirling galaxy. We've got the red bar from min to max, which is how strong we've got the LEDs. We've got a little circle underneath. Well, two circles, a dot matrix circle on the right and a little indicator circle on the left. Those might change actually when we hold FN. Let's try that. No, sometimes they do. And there's also a little tiny screen that says Matrix Labs MY-2K in 2024. I don't know if you can see that, the tiny little screen. Can you read the text on it? It's pretty cool. Pretty cool overall. I think we'll try and put the PT logo in here later, but not today. Let's get some keycaps on the board. I do want to use MTNU today, so we're going to try with. If Modern Dolch Light doesn't work, I will change it off screen to something else. But we're going to try Modern Dolch Light first. So, sadly, I don't need the international kit today because we're not using UK ISO. We are using ANSI. So let's get some keycaps on the board. And you know what? I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit. But because it's such a big board, I might not be able to zoom in too far. It's probably about as close as I can get. Yeah, let's use the accents that are here. Matrix went too far. Hey, that's the Matrix ideology. Like, they like to do things differently. If it's not for you, it's not for you. It's cool. You know, not everybody has to like every keyboard, right? Did you figure out what the solenoid issue was last week? No, the original PCB worked, the one that I took out. The one that had been sent didn't. I think it might have been a firmware issue, but I had to ship the board off to Canon Keys so quickly I never got a chance to diagnose it. So that's something that Canon Keys will do, I think. Which app are you using there? That's an app called Switch Hitter. You can find it on Google. It's impressive how many sets go well with Hagoromo alphas. Yeah, they're cool. Without any caps, just a cool shot. It's a really cool keyboard. If you like this kind of thing, it's super cool. If you don't, I get it. It's amazing, holy crap. Yeah, there are very few of these out there. I'm going to message Albert and ask how many there are out there, but I think there's, as Jelly says, there's probably less than 50, I think. Tools and Toy was too much for me. This is quite normy apart from the lights. Tools and Toys was really cool. Gonna look lovely. Oh, thank you. JOG material. So I only have 2 personal sets of JOG keycaps, and they're on other boards. So I might end up putting that on here, but I did want to try MTNU on this board. I think Matrix boards particularly tend to work really nicely with MTNU. Ooh, that sounds good. Jay hasn't put these into a tub. Won't spend 10 minutes trying to find the keys he needs. Not today. No, I haven't. I need to like dig out my label maker and make a tub for these. GOG would work so well. 70 mate. That makes sense. It was not a cheap board. It was a bit of a splurge purchase. I probably shouldn't have bought this. I couldn't really afford it at the time. I'm not a wealthy man at the minute. I'll be very happy when we can have this as UK ISO layout. That'd be nice. Oh, can you hear the siren then? Yeah. Dude, it looks fantastic, right? Haven't we all said that at some point? Yeah, I like... Just because of like all the rising costs, like I've not taken a salary out of the company for like nearly a year now, and it's starting to get like... I'm starting to concern at the dwindling of my savings, let's put it that way. So, please do a buy. I'm going to use the green in it here, look. That sounds so good. Hell yeah. But how buy boards if not salary? Most salary. Yeah, I just... As a business owner, my needs come last. The business needs comes first. And that goes in the order of staff, customer, business necessities. Which I split into 3 priorities: priority 1, priority 2, and priority 3. Priority 1 is immediate, and priority 3 is someday. And then I come right down at the bottom of the list, because it's the only way you can really run a business. Okay. This sounds so good already. Right, okay. We don't need F13, but we do need print screen, scroll lock, and pause break. And then here we had insert page up and page down. So I just need to find the page down key that's correct for it. So there should be a page down that is that row. There it is. Let's go for the pink enter down here. And let's put the numpad in place. I'm going to go for the green Modo keycap just up here, just because I quite like that. Yeah, numpad, let's do the numpad, and then we can do the bottom row. Wait, that's wrong, right? That's there. That's there. That's there. And that's there. You know, I think MTNU works better on a numpad than it does on a board even. Like, it's just so nice on a numpad. If you guys haven't experienced MTNU on a numpad, I urge you to consider the option or the opportunity. Should we have it? This is looking good. Dude, this looks so good, right? I'm very happy with how this is coming out. I really, really do wish that MTNU did a row 5. Like, I'd be super happy with that. I mean, I could do the whole sales speech here if you want, Moons, like, this set's in stock and blah, 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 but I won't. I'll try and be good. So I'm going to put this as a super key just because I know it's going to be the FN key. And then we need stepped caps lock, which is here. There we go. And then our W spacebar. And boom. There we go, we are done. I'm super, super happy with that. Look how good this looks. Should we see how it sounds? As Jay knows from me buying most of the sets, I love MTNU. Dude, it's so nice. The Blue Electric colorway got canned. Yeah, I asked the designer why, and they never really came up with a good idea, like a good response, so I don't know. MTNU Granite is tempting. Yeah, I don't think we still have that in stock, I'm afraid. But if it ever comes back in stock, I'll stock it. But I think we still have Dolch, Modern Dolch Light. I think we have one set of Rascals in stock as well. I think that's it for MTNU right now. But more sets should run in MTNU. Should we see how this sounds? And I'll just turn the music off. I'm going to turn the aircon off as well. I'm just going to give that a moment to quieten down so you guys can hear the board properly. I'm sure I just turned it off. Nope, there we go. Oh yeah, we've got Darling as well. Can't hear it anyway. Yeah, but I think when I start typing and the sounds of the typing are picked up, it might pick up the noise of the aircon at that point. Right, let's see how this sounds anyway, because it looks fantastic. Is that picking up for you guys? Can you hear it? It's my love affair with you, Colleen, that I type out, yeah. That sounds so good. It sounds so good. I'm super, super happy with this. Let's put the lights back on and see if we can give them a bit of control. Put the music back on too. There we go. So I think, is this going to control the lights? Okay, maybe we need to look at the book. Let's have a look at the book. Let's see how we can control the lights. Okay. Remap, we do it on Matrix Lab config. Oh, there's lights on the rear too. Oh dude, look, there's lights on the rear. I didn't even know that. How did I not spot that earlier on? There are 8 sets of lights. By default, they are globally controlled. Press F13. It doesn't tell me what F13 is coded as F13. To switch to independent control of lights, press F14 to switch global control of lights. Oh, okay. Well, what's set to F13, F14? But you can control these 2 lights here. There's one red and one white. What's set to RGB toggle? Refer to page 10 for the keys locations. Okay. Let's have a look and see where they've got it. Okay. Default map. Okay. Wait, that's a button? Oh, that's the reset button. Shit, that's cool. Okay, so F13 is, well, toggle, F13, F14, F16. So F13 is E. So F13 is to control, F14 is to switch to global control. RGB toggle. Okay, so that turns on and off. Oh, you guys can see that. That turns on and off. Oh, that changes mode. I can't do flashing. We could probably do RGB maybe. Oh man, there's so many different options here, look. And then we can control individually. So that's just doing the display in the top corner. There we go. Oh, it's late. It's 11 o'clock. Oh, that's turn it off. That's completely turn it off. There we go. Red. Oh man. Is it? Okay, let's leave that as that. Let's turn it back to grouped control. Okay. Okay, I need to play around with these later on, but yeah, there's basically a ton of different stuff you can do with these. I'm just gonna like find something reasonable for now. Like that'll do. That'll do. What color we got on the back? Just RGBs. Yeah, so one of those was reactive mode. Like when you type, it was like gonna ping. Anyway, so we know all of the lights are reprogrammable. Color screen modification. Okay, so we can actually change what goes on this screen here. So we need to GIF with a resolution of 128 by 128 or higher and a 1:1 aspect ratio, and then there's a converter for it. Okay, interesting. Okay, and we can change what happens on the OLED as well. There's only Chinese instructions for it. Oh, okay, here we go. Use Shift and F16 to switch between the 3 static displays. Display custom text, which is the current one. Display current date and time, and display the approximate temperature and humidity of the current environment. We can do temperature and humidity. So it was, what was that? Shift and F16. Okay. Holy shit. There we go. I don't know if you guys can read that, but like it. Temperature 20 degrees, humidity 55%. I don't know how accurate that is. Temperature probably quite close. Humidity maybe quite close. Yeah, and the time. So it's an hour out here. It says 004, and so I don't know how we resync that. How do we resync the time? Doesn't tell me how we resync the time. Oh, we need to do it in the software. So we can change that and put some custom text in there as well. The other thing we can do as well is we can actually change the volume. This is a slider bar. So apparently, is that changing the volume for you guys for the music? I don't know, I can't tell. I don't think that is changing the volume of the music for you guys, but it does change the volume on my PC, I guarantee it. There's a touch bar too. Yeah, and if we swipe from right to left, it will decrease the volume. And then if we press and hold, in the middle, it'll do volume minus. Yeah, and if we do it on the right, it'll do volume up. Yeah, that works. And in the middle, it'll turn the volume on and off. Well, yeah, okay, so that all works. It's not changing yours. Yeah, I think that's just because of the way that the software picks up the music and stuff. But it is working for me, I can guarantee it. So, a million things we can do on this keyboard. They went super hard. This is like a really, really special thing. Like, this is super special. Like, if I unplug it anyway, like, look at the design on this thing. Look at the side profile. Like, it tells you Matrix Labs here. Look at all this detail, this design. It's just phenomenal. This is a nice, flat, smooth surface. And then, as you spin it round onto the rear, you can kind of see in here, there's like the little geary bit that we looked at earlier on. There's the rear with the LEDs and the Fuakwaa MY-2K badge and the Millennium kind of, or it says the Millennium on the back, which is pretty cool. Similar on this side as well. Matrix Labs badge on the side and a ton of other stuff. You've got the stars and the Millennium logo on the back. Look how cool, like, this thing is just extra all round. It is just extra. This is super cool. And like, even the front edge is just really, really nice. What a piece. What a board. And then it sounds like this. Yeah, I think I really like this board. I think this might be on my desk for a little while. Yeah, there goes Jay's Monday. Yeah, like, right? This thing's phenomenal. Like, it's really, really good. I should turn. I'm not going to turn the light back on because it is time for me to finish the stream now. But I'm super, super happy with this. I think I'm going to take the koala off my desk for a little bit and just have this board on here. It sounds so good. Yeah, the touch bar is really cool. Like, it's just like, why? I don't know. But they have, and it works really well. So why not, right? Thank you for the link to the booklet, Jelly Master. I appreciate that. Hopefully I can click some of the links in there rather than... Oh yeah, cool. So some of the links are working, so I don't have to type them out. Yeah. I will... switches, keycaps, and background. Like, dude, like, these switches are probably the best switches we've stocked all year. Like, so far all year, these switches are probably the best. Like, I know we stock a lot of switches and we try a lot of switches on stream, and you see me use switches from every vendor in the world, but these have blown me away how good these are. The KeyGeek switches, like, we've had two sets of KeyGeek switches in. We've had the Pom Sharks and we've had these, and both switches have been really, really good, but these have absolutely blown me away. Like, these are probably my new favorite switch, just in terms of sound and feel. They feel so good. So good. Right, guys, it is time for me to finish the stream. I need to get home because I've got to be back here first thing in the morning. So I'm going to head home now. I'll be back in the morning. So watch out on Instagram and Discord for updates there. We'll have a ton of stuff happening in the next couple of weeks. So please do take a listen and watch out for stuff that's happening. We're going to have some stock drops coming in the next couple of days. We've got the F1s at some point soon. We've got another shipment arriving in a couple of weeks' time. So please watch out for stuff that's going to drop and going in stock and everything else.
Incredible.
If you use the discount code today, thank you very much. That is going to stop working in 23 minutes time at hour. So if you want to get the 10% discount on any in-stock keyboard kit, you can use the code streaming10 for the next 23 minutes. After that, it won't work anymore. So please do go do that. Only on in-stock keyboard kits. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. I'm going to head home now, maybe have a snack, and then get plenty of sleep. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care and have a really great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.